Standard.
Are we live?
We are live. It's powering up here.
Powering up.
Bad signal.
There we go. Check on my audio real quick. 1, 4. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Thanks for joining us on the live stream. We're getting settled in here and getting ready to go. I can see a lot of you are here already. Who we got? Impulse,
I
Alex,
hate this
Sarah,
time of
Jeff,
year. I
Ronaldo,
just get
Matt,
shocked
Todd.
like crazy.
Right? Need some grounding in there, man.
I know.
There we go.
But, you know, you're over here telling me to rip off all the grounds for all my plugs and stuff.
No, not exactly.
No, just once. Just once.
Just for things that need it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're
So
good
we're
here.
seeing the questions down there, right? I don't have to
Right.
open the
Nah.
thingy on the internet.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
Boy, they are piling in too. Wow, this is nice.
I like having the chat up so that I can converse during the show.
You know, YouTube
yeah.
used to let you pop out the chat.
You
I
still
don't know
can.
if you just
Yeah.
can't embed it anymore, I guess.
No, I do that every week.
Something.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start recording on my audio recording device. Let me know when y'all are good.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, I'm rolling.
All right. We're going to do a sync clap for this. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 clap. All right. Ready we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right. I think we're good. Everybody's here. Everybody's ready. I got my notes up. Got my Dorpy standing by.
The new people's people.
The new people's people. All right. Here we go. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt. Joining us today is the mega super talented. I'm gonna say it like an American, and I'm sorry, I'm totally butchering it. Andrey Lebrov.
Hello.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, show topic suggestions, artist suggestions. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Come on, follow us on that TikTok.
Yeah.
Mograph.com.
You get to see all of Dorpy's adventures.
Dorpy's adventures. You can see some stuff that I just put up there randomly. Some Cinema 4D quick tips. I hope to be doing some more of that here when the holidays when things slow down a little bit. So
Yeah.
email us, and if you have a very noob question and you're like, wow, this is so noob, I'm scared to ask it. Ask it
Yeah.
anyway. We don't care.
Ask it anyway.
We'll answer it. If you've got an
You'd be
advanced-
surprised,
Yeah.
like the number of like noob questions that I ask on a daily basis into our Slack.
Into
You know,
Google.
yeah, it's like today I asked, "What's the project asset inspector?" Like what it's called, because they changed
new
it around
name.
at some point within the past 4 years, and I just couldn't
Yeah.
remember what it was called.
I always forget. I was actually using that yesterday, and I always have to shift C it and remember what
Mm-hmm.
it's called. And it's asset
That's cinema.
something. Yeah, it's
What?
cinema.
Yeah, in cinema. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I have a few comments about cinema.
all right. We'll definitely do that. I did want to just mention there is some week wrap up stuff real quick. I want to get to. Number one, I meant to mention this last week. I'm sorry. The scholarship update. I'm sure that the scholarship entries. I'm sure everybody wants to know the results for that.
Who's the winner?
I don't have that yet.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that it is currently being judged, and we will have the answers or the results for that soon. and then we'll get everybody their prizes and NFT things and such. And then I also this is cool. I was on TikTok the other day, and I'll put this in the notes. There was a TikTok ad that came up like they do, and it was for Apple, and it was showing off what the new laptop can do, and on that screen is Cinema 4D, and so that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
And, I'll put a link to that TikTok. You can watch that ad if you would like. And then wanted to do a quick meetup update. How are we doing there? How are we doing with the meetup?
We're doing the meetup. So
cool.
Finally got all the permits approved and everything. So we are good to go. But yeah, super excited. December 4th in Burbank. We're doing a Mograph meetup, just all people Mography. You know, we got a few people coming from out of town. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be celebrating birthdays. There's like 4 birthdays that weekend. One of them's mine, you know, which is going to be great.
Yours is on the 3rd. Then on the 4th is Winbush's 40th. Rev's
something.
And Tokyo Meg's is like 29 or something. All on the same day.
Yeah, I know. I turned 39. When I turn 40, I'm going to kill myself.
Oh, God. That's terrible.
Yeah, I got 1 year left. 1 year left of life. There we go.
I hope you include in the will, you know, that the rest of the company goes over to me, right? You got all that straightened out,
we need to discuss that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then
big shout out! You gotta get
and the sponsors.
Yeah, we got a taco truck coming. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We got cornhole, we got frisbees. You know, we're gonna have a bunch of little games for us to play. It's gonna be really, really cool. And a big shout out to our sponsors, both Maxon and Otoy, for helping out, helping put this all together. We're super happy to have them on board as sponsoring this event. It's gonna be like the last one of the year, so really excited about that. Can I talk about some Camp Mograph news, or do you have that on? Do you have any notes for that?
I don't have any, but if you have something to say, you can.
I don't have anything to say officially yet, other than like we went and checked out a couple of camps last week. Super excited about the prospects. Both of them were really, really good, and so it's just all about narrowing down which one's going to be the best one and which one's going to have the most fun. So super excited. Stay tuned, because we may have an announcement here in the next few weeks or something. Who knows?
Wow. All right.
Wow. We got a big Camp Mograph meeting tomorrow, so we may make a decision then.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
What else I got on here? Oh, hey. I did want to mention, speaking of Winbush, that he does his game night on his Discord on Saturday nights. So if anybody is around, it's really fun. We get on and we play like Jackbox and the kind of games that you could just log on in your iPhone real quick for free. We've been having fun with that. Like I know, like it just depends from week to week who's there. Like Sarah's there sometimes. Sometimes James. Who else hops on? EJ's brother is on sometimes. I don't know how many of y'all have met EJ's brother.
Yeah, we've played. I think we've played Animal Crossing together.
Yeah, and just let you know, random people show up and play games, and I just want to get more people. It's so much fun, and my daughter even loves it. My daughter joins. We sit around on Discord, and so that'll be fun. This Saturday, I think it's happening again. So just wanted to put that out there, and then wanted to mention the Mograph Discord as well. The Mograph Discord we started, we're not replacing the Slack, but we realized that some people would rather use Discord, and the part of it, let's be honest, we're using the most is we're just hanging out in video chat all day.
Yeah, basically,
you know, like
that's
you do.
it. I mean, we have duplicates of all the. I wish I could like find a way where if one posts on one, it posts on the other. You know, so that we could. It didn't matter where you were at. I don't know if there's a way to do that. I'll have to look it up.
We'll see. Then okay, the last thing that I wanted to mention in the week wrap up here before we get into the fun stuff is that very, very soon Caitlin's course is going to be launching. One of the biggest hangups was getting this promo video done, and it's done.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and show everybody the promo. So sit back and relax for like 2 minutes and check this out.
Let's start at the beginning. I'm Caitlin. I'm really excited that you're joining me for Brush Up. Pretty awesome. Big fan of this. Let's crank this brush up bigger. Add life to those illustrations. What do I have going on here? This little guy right here. Maybe I should make him pink instead. Now that I like. It's pretty cute. Now this is a fun one. You can play around with drawings that you might already have. Does this look good? Does this look right? With my reference screen, I can see the whole thing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Little isometric view. A little bit of grass here. I am a rat enthusiast. Procreate, illustration, and animation. Simple as that, and it's all perfect. This is going to be a great resource for you. You'll be inspired and equipped to tackle your own creative projects right away. Grab your iPad and your Apple Pencil and let's brush up. Boom. Roll credits.
There it is.
Well done, sir.
There it is. I'm so happy that is done. I spent way too much time on it. It's coming out hopefully this week. Just got to get the website ready to go, and that's pretty much all we got left. There was one thing we added at the last second of these notes. Is you just this morning found an Orbex exporter, and I think this will transition us into some good talk here. So
yeah, I mean, we could put this in the notes, but we're gonna add this to the notes. So one of the biggest hangups I have with using Octane at the moment is always exporting out to Orbex. You know, it's just for some reason it just doesn't work as fluidly as I would love. So especially going straight out of Cinema 4D. Well, Dino in the Slack has a Orbex command line exporter, which is awesome. So you can set up a little .bat file in your like send to or whatever. So basically you can go to whatever C4D file you have, right click on it and say send to orbex.bat, and it'll automatically export that C4D project to an Orbex file. And it's so much faster than doing it straight through Cinema 4D through the render stuff. But yeah, Bobby, we're going to talk about that. Don't worry.
Command line.
Yeah. Yes. So it either does it. I think there's two different ways. There's the no GUI version, and then there's the command line exe version. So basically, one you send it through Cinema 4D, the other way you send it through command line. But it's like 15 times faster than just straight up exporting it out of Cinema 4D's regular Octane window or whatever, which is awesome. So I just did a render or an export. So another thing to note is that with this, and he's going to put this in his notes on the site because I was talking to him trying to figure it out. You can't have any spaces in any of your like file names or anything, which stinks. So, but also GSG textures are weird with it as well. I found that like you need to make sure that all of your textures are in there, and that even if you're not using specific textures or whatever, it's still going to throw an error. You need to get rid of all that stuff and make sure everything's good to go. And then with GSG textures specifically, like it wouldn't run for me for some reason. So I had to export with assets in order to get it going correctly. But then it exported so fast, so freaking fast. And then, man, render is such a good service.
What's the address?
I uploaded
for that?
it.
Was there a web address?
RND. dinomuhic.com/orbex-command line -explorer.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
We'll have
to. I've been wanting to make sure we just hopped onto a big project, and I wanted to make sure that we can use render, and this is going to be like a big thing. And render's so cheap right now. Like it's funny. It's like the price of render. No, it's not. It's
we'll
shot
get
up
to that in
NFT
segment today.
Yeah.
So that is the week wrap up. That's the info we got to get out there. Let's talk about Andrey Lebrov because we have not met in person. We've not really talked much in any other way before. You're just this legend that's like out there, and we, honestly, I'm pretty intimidated having you on the show today.
Yeah.
No, I'm just Andrey.
We haven't been to any like NAB meetups together, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So this will be fun because we'll get to know each other a little bit, and so we're gonna start from the beginning, and give us kind of an idea of, for people who haven't watched any of your videos or anything online. Give everybody an idea of who you are, and let's chat about how you got to where you are now.
Well, you're saying you're intimidated. I'm actually intimidated because I'm such a lazy YouTube person. I'm doing it so rarely that I'm not, used to it. So I feel nervous at the moment. So stop
Oh, you're
it.
fine. You're totally fine.
Yeah. And people who haven't seen my videos, I'm just CG artist, and I started at YouTube in 2018. Was heavily Octane guy, and then it all went I don't know, somewhere. So I don't know. So inconsistent now. I don't know where I'm going, but it's super interesting. Octane is super interesting at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many other directions I want to explore, and that's basically what I'm doing on my channel at the moment, exploring new tools, new ways of doing graphics, doing new works myself, just trying to make my life harder.
But everything that you put in to your videos, it looks so good. It's so clean. Obviously, you have some sort of background in video, right? Where did you get your start? How did you get into all of this in the first place? Well,
it's a long story. So I'm in the industry for, let's see. I noticed from the videos that I'm lying here, because sometimes I'm saying one date and then I'm saying slightly another, because I'm referencing different points. One point is when I actually started exploring, and another point in time is when I actually got first money paid, for a project. But it was approximately 2005. So what, 16 years then.
Yeah.
And I started by just experimenting with Photoshop. My grandfather gave me my first computer as a present, and I just got bored of games and started to literally experiment with Photoshop, because there was no tutorials, not that much info on internet about anything. So all you could do is just literally click.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't even remember how. Are we allowed to talk about this? That we cracked?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back in the days?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, sure.
It's the only
We
reason
all did
Adobe
that
got
back
where
then.
it is today, because we all did that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember where I found info about how to do it, but that's what. I remember. I was reinstalling the Windows every month to run Photoshop again.
To be able to do the free trial.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's how my curiosity started, and then cameras, then desire to put some elements into photos, and that's how I got into 3D Max and all that stuff. Then Maya, then Cinema, and now some other tools that we will probably talk about later. But I mean, it was all just curiosity driven, nothing else.
So was there any school involved in any of this? Because I mean, like, if you look at one of your videos, right, you see, if anybody goes to your YouTube, they see how great your lighting is, how great the color is, how great everything about the production quality is.
The production value is top notch.
Self-taught?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, self-taught. I did go to, what's the word? Admit to the academy. Yeah.
Okay.
There's that like, Baltic International Academy. I did go there for a graphic design course. But then I found out that the 3D course that I was actually interested in was only at the very end, after 4 years. So I decided to quit in 3 first months. I just quit. And then I just started to be YouTube's best friend.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized it was 2009 or 2010. That's when I realized that there's ton of info on the internet. Just go and take it. And then that's basically how I got into there. No formal school, no universities, nothing.
But your YouTube channel is, you have like 220 something thousand subscribers.
Yeah, 225,000. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Especially for like our industry. You know, I didn't even think there was that many people out there.
Is there a certain point, like a certain video that you feel like really pushed that in the direction as far as your viewership?
Yeah, one of the most popular videos is still how to learn VFX, where I just talk about that general stuff. And I actually gave a sort of big live speech on Video Copilot's Europe tour in Barcelona about that, about realizing what ocean of information you have around yourself. And there was a little graphic I've put into the presentation. So when you don't realize that you have so much info around you, you just go like growing your skills like that, right? That's time going up. And then when you realize how much information you have for free and you don't slack, you just put everything in it, you just go like that. Become a super duper professional for free.
Right.
Don't have to pay anything.
Right. The channel, okay, you'll have to explain this to me a little bit, but you used to be with Out of Nothing, and now you just recently did a video and you kind of came back to your YouTube channel and you said you're on your own now. I don't really know the backstory about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now, like with this whole on your own thing?
Yes. So in 2015 or 16, I partnered with some good people in UK to open up a company. The company was rebranded several times, and the last name was Out of Nothing, that everyone knows, and there was a showreel from it. It was a great company to work with, but unfortunately, our views on the future of the company separated, sort of. So we decided to go our own ways. The team still exists under another brand called The Canopy. And I'm just here as a Lebrov Motion Imagery, LMI, not ILM.
What kind of projects have you worked on? Do you do professional projects? Is it all at this point like personal stuff? Do you have regular clients? Are you doing contract work? Where are you at in that right now? That you're on your own.
So pre-COVID, we were doing a lot of actual shooting, production from A to Z, from the set to post with the visual effects and all that. After 2019, when COVID started, we were just solely focusing on product commercials, full CG stuff, and that's kind of our strong suit. But apart from that, we did like several huge events for custom arenas. Not only the content, but the logics behind it, all the algorithms and rigs that cut and output screens for VJs to use and play, that kind of stuff. Planning for it as well, collaboration with the installation companies. We were really broad, I would say. We can do anything. Whatever is the need for the campaign, we will do it. But I'm so cinema kind of inspired and driven. I'm curious about cameras. I'm a DP and director myself, pre-COVID, not now. That's where the lighting and image kind of comes from, and it translates to my works as well.
Yeah, that's something really important to note. If you're coming from a graphic design background into 3D and you don't know anything about cameras, f-stops, lighting, any of that stuff, I mean, unless you have some sort of film background or go, at least do some basics on film background, it's going to be hard for you to light things. I mean, it really shows the fact that you have that experience. It really shows in everything that you do. And you've got quite a couple videos. I don't know if we want to go down the rabbit hole just yet, but with Clarice. But before we get to that, like your Aces tutorial is really good. I know Matt watches that
Super
over
killer.
and over again, like on loop.
Yeah. Anytime I need to a refresher, I'll hop on that one.
It's a really
me.
controversial video.
I don't know
Because
why.
Why is it controversial?
Yeah.
So when I published it, I actually took it down and next day because there were several comments, not even several, more, stating that I'm super terribly wrong about it, and it's like I'm a doofus. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I was like, shit, seriously, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I should bloody take it down. But then I researched the topic. I actually talked to people who introduced me to Aces. I was like, am I so terribly wrong? They said, no, come on. There are a couple of things you said, but that's just terminology. It's just how you refer to things, you know? And I was like, yeah. So I've put it back online. And then in half a year time, someone from Aces Academy reached out and said, hey, Andrey, you're actually not allowed to use Aces logo on your channel. I was like,
What?
Yeah, so? And the gentleman was like, well, we will actually allow you to use our logo if you allow us to put this video on our website, Aces Academy.
Nice.
And I was like,
Oh, that's funny.
of course, go for it.
It's a really good video. It gives you a really good, thorough overview of like what Aces is, you know, and you hear, you know, when it was first introduced or whatever. I mean, of course, you heard Chad Ashley just talk about Aces all the time, and Aces, everyone talking about Aces, and like without really understanding what it is, you know. And so I knew there was ways. I don't know. I knew there was ways to work within After Effects and trying to figure all that stuff out. And watching your video gave me a much better understanding of why everyone was so like, you know.
Yeah, it's just a good
Aces.
breakdown of why you should bother. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my way of looking at it too, because we do the streams for Maxon, you know, monthly, right? And I swear every time it's an ongoing joke now. Every time Matthias and I are sitting on there, we're like, how many times is somebody going to mention Aces in the comments?
Yeah.
Aces. When are we going to talk about Aces? And it's just like, okay, why is it such a big? Why is everybody so fired up? Is it because it's a buzzword, or because it's actually that useful?
It's very cool. And like when you understand the why of it, you know, like you'll want to use it. But I mean,
it's good that it becomes really common, really, for overall production quality of everyone. Because when I was doing the video, Cinema 4D didn't support Aces, didn't know what it is. Even if you would ask them, why is there no Aces support, they would go like, what's that? Then Octane didn't support it. Redshift was the only engine from GPU renderers who was supporting it.
Right.
So yeah, it's a really new thing, and it's good that people actually start to understand it, because it unifies us all basically. There is no, there is no difference between assets anymore. There is no difference between inputs, no difference between cameras. Very good.
And Francisco is talking about your video on centralized storage as well. I think that's probably a good topic. I have not watched that specific video, but I did see it on your channel yesterday. And how are you managing all your? I imagine that the footage that you have is requires very high capacity drives. I mean, are you shooting a lot of raw, a lot of and rendering?
Not really. Not for YouTube. For YouTube, it's 4K in S-Log. It's usually not that bad. For some B-roll, or if it's something specific, I may shoot in RAW 6K. That would be a lot of space.
That's a lot of.
And
I'm using Synology servers. They were sponsored to me, but I started to use them out of nothing. We've set up 2 servers ourselves, And I came up with a centralized kind of repository of work files, footage, all the assets, it's just centralized in one place on those servers and all the machines and network. For context, I'm not working on one single machine. I have one there, another station for sculpting and editing, then 10 render nodes. They all have to have same access to all the files. So that's why you need repository.
And you're using that over a network, and it's going okay. Yeah. You're not having any network issues or anything running that.
No. So you basically set up switches. So you internet go to switch, providing your whole network with it. That was a weird swing of a screwdriver, huh? But yeah, I mean, so you provide your whole network with the internet, and then that switch goes to each machine, and preferably it would be a 10G network, especially with Octane, which I'm not really using in a network rendering setup at the moment, but the speed of your network is super duper, super important for the render speed of your renders.
That was actually going to be my next question, because I believe mine is 1G and not 10, but yeah, I mean, if you try and network render an Octane over Wi-Fi, forget about it, because your giant textures and all that, it's never going to even make it to the node before your main machine finishes the first frame. So, yeah, so sounds like you got that covered. The next question to go down the rabbit hole is about Clarice, because you've got a pretty popular video on your channel, and there's something you said at the beginning, because this has been around for a little bit, but I didn't really know much about it. And once you talked about the fact that, what year was that Clarice was announced, or they started talking about it? It was
2012.
So I don't know if this is the same thing, but I do remember seeing something around that time that was talking about the way that geometry and polygons and everything were going to be handled by this system. And I remember hearing about that, and then it just kind of disappeared. And I'm thinking that this is probably the same thing. Could you give everybody a general overview of what Clarice is? Because I feel like not a lot of people have heard about it.
So the reason the video is popular is probably because of the content I was able to make with it. It's definitely that next kind of level stuff in terms of complexity in it. And to explain what Clarice is, it's a LookDev package that allows you to handle trillions of polygons, no limits on polygons.
Wow.
And the specific thing about it is that it's specifically a LookDev tool. You can't create anything in Clarice. You can assemble stuff. So, for example, you create, geometry and animation in Cinema 4D, export it as Alembic, bring it into Clarice and shade it there. Okay. Then you do some simulation in Houdini, right? But do your stuff, export Alembic, bring it to the same scene in Clarice, shade it, and render it.
Similar to the way like Octane standalone works, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's more to it, right? About why it's so great. It has to do with the way that it handles geometry, right? Somehow, some magic.
It's not loading anything into scenes. You probably got used to Cinema 4D scenes that are saving for really long time, especially if you have that autosave backup stuff and you work on something complex. It annoys you every 5 minutes because the scene size is huge, because it stores all the geometry in this file.
Right.
Clarice doesn't. It references the Alembic files, as I just said. It doesn't load anything. So the scene file is actually several kilobytes, because it's just it's several lines of code saying where to find those Alembic files. What was the question?
Well, we were just talking about what makes it great. Now you did as kind of was this a proof of concept, the moon thing that you did? Was this to test Clarice? Do I have that right? Is that what you were doing? Was that the intended purpose of that video?
Yeah, the test was actually Rainforest at Dawn, the first one, really complex.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Gotcha. I saw that one, and that's the one that has the trillions of. I think this is it right here, right? Is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has trillions of polygons in it, right?
This one has 997 billion, almost a trillion. Yeah.
Wow.
Close enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so this is Forester or
no.
no? What did you
Speed
use?
Tree.
Speed Tree. Okay.
Yeah.
Speed Tree. And so, talk about the process of that. So you use Speed Tree, and then what happens after you design the scene to get to
So you have
the end
with
result?
Clarice, you have two options: either classically export Alembic and shade your trees there, but there is actually super cool engine specifically designed for Clarice where you can procedurally make those trees in Clarice. In this particular study, I didn't use that engine because it was quite pricey for me to handle and license all my nodes for it. I mean, they have to maybe reconsider their pricing if you're listening to this, gentlemen. But yeah, so you can just export Alembics.
But even though it can handle this well, if you're building it in another program, how do you go about that? Do you have to kind of build it in layers if you're doing something with that many polys? Or instances?
No, you're just no instances, just pure geometry, no cheats, and the viewport is still interactive. No glitches, nothing. It just handles it.
How though? Like where how?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I was like,
magic.
you're assuming he knows. And maybe it's a part of their secret, but
No, all I can say is just it streams geometry. Probably some clever rasterizing algorithms don't really know how Unreal Engine does it. Same like magic. The trade-off with Clarice is that if anyone used Arnold, right? It's a CPU render engine. It's really slow. Fortunately, Clarice on CPU is really slow. It's like, that's why I called the video the Hollywood secret, because it's reserved for studios with like tons and tons of capacities, you know?
Right.
And we're all eagerly waiting for next gen NG engine that they're releasing, which will be hybrid on GPU and CPU. It's supposed to be super duper much more faster. So we will see.
Interesting.
That's probably explains why the software itself is not that popular, you know, in a wider audience, because if you're just a dude with a single station, probably doesn't make sense, especially if you want to make some money on animations. You won't be able to do that.
right. And so the moon render, tell us a little bit about that.
So this one, I don't know. I just did it. I was actually curious. I remember. They released Clarice 5, and there was some new tech announced there. Like, so before that one, I was trying to do a city, right? A night city. And there was a funny, like, ironic thing in the software that can scatter billions of elements. You couldn't scatter bloody lights. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
So the only way to do it was manual placement of real lights or shading with some kind of textures, and it would look funny. I don't know. Another funny fact is that Blade Runner, latest one, was done in Clarice, and I don't know how they managed to put that many beautiful lights in there. That was probably humongous manual work. But in this release 5, they introduced something called emission importance sampling, which allows you to properly light scenes with emissions and textures. It's crazy. So whatever you put in texture, you know, hood, UI, some futuristic stuff, it will actually emit really good light real light.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was testing in this moon thing, even though probably the moon base should have been the focus of the scene, you know, the rover became the focus, and it actually emits light with the texture. You can see in the second shot how good the lighting is. It lights the ground before it really well. And there's a lot of other new stuff in there.
Was there's something, I can't remember what it was called, shading groups? Did I get that right?
Shading layers. Shading groups,
layers.
shading layers, yeah.
What is that exactly?
Well, I've read actually a lot of comments about people not understanding what it is and what's so different from Blender. I'm not against Blender. I'm for Blender and actually willing to learn Blender myself since it's so amazing these days. But saying that, well, Blender or Cinema 4D can do all the same stuff is not true. It's misinformation. And shading layers are not groups or selections or whatever. It's a specific thing designed to automate the shading process. And as long as it's properly done on modeling stage, then all your stuff can be automatically shaded in Clarice. So if we have like Cinema 4D background here, shading group would be just a polygon selection on geometry. You know, linking to that material would use that selection to appear on the render. Then Clarice reads it and knows that this polygon selection is certain group. And then you can have a set of rules in Clarice called the shading layer that would tell, like, hey, put this shader on all the selections called this, I don't know, concrete.
Right.
And then whatever you import in there in Clarice, and as long as it was made properly, it will just automatically grab those shaders for you.
Like you were using in the video, I think on the moon base, you had a bunch of, I don't know what they were, like kind of building, like connecting buildings, or
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they were. But...
It's really hard to explain, and in the video, I did the mistake of not showing it correctly, really. I was just, you know, disabling enabling materials, which obviously you can do in Cinema 4D, just delete materials and bring them back, and you will have the same picture, but it's not the same thing. Imagine you come up with you can do the list prior production. You can say like, okay, in this project, I will have concrete, I will have glass, I will have whatever, what we have, nothing, concrete and glass. You create those two rules, you create those two shaders, and then you go modeling. And you're modeling with these names in mind. You have a cube, you select like a rectangle in that cube and say this will be concrete, and then another polygon will be glass. And then you bring this alembic into Clarice, and it's already shaded because there is a set of rules.
That's cool.
Already saying how it should be shaded. Cool. Is that a better explanation?
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention, by the way, I am trying to copy and paste as many questions as possible from here so we can address them later on. One question I think a lot of people will want to know, because you mentioned about all the computers you have, right? What kind of setups are you dealing with, and what kind of gear do you use in all of these different computer setups?
And I would assume that, like, you know, running Clarice, you would probably need a pretty good, you know, setup with multiple farms in order to start rendering, right?
Yes,
what are the render times you're looking on those?
Yeah, render times are big. I'm actually looking at expanding at the moment, but currently running 9 16-core units with GTX 1080 old ones, and one 32-core AMD, of course, unit with 3090 RTX.
Nice.
Not that I'm using GPUs much these days, but I mean it's actually an interesting thing to discuss GPU versus CPU these days, considering all the context behind it, huh?
Right.
In terms of, you can't really get the only RTX 3090 I have here was sponsored by NVIDIA themselves in the beginning of the whole thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm not even looking into investing into GPUs. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, you said, how many stations did you say you had for rendering?
10 in total.
10?
Wow.
Are those the ones that are I just saw them behind you in a video. Are
White
they all
ones.
like identical white ones that you kind of have lined up? That's really pretty looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then you said you had a sculpting station as well. Were you talking about actual sculpting or like ZBrush sculpting?
ZBrush, yeah.
ZBrush.
Actual
You never
sculpting.
know. You never know. So what would be the difference on your sculpting station between like a regular station? Do you have like a special setup for that?
Or like
No, it's one of the render nodes, but with graphic tablet with a
Okay.
screen. You know,
So it's got
there's
like a Wacom tablet or something
duplicate,
like that.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. What about Houdini stuff? Now, you have the video you did with Simon. I actually, it's funny, I met Simon at MDC London. Was one of the video co-pilot shows that was in the beginning of 2019, I think.
Yeah, I was the part of that show, but in Barcelona.
Yeah, and that's and I don't remember. Was Simon at that one too? I can't remember.
Simon was in London.
Okay, so
Oh no,
okay.
he was there. Yeah, 2019.
Because he was at, I didn't know if he went to both. He was at the one in London, and it's funny because we were hanging out at a bar afterwards. This is the first time I met him, and we were talking about Houdini and talking about the transition from C4D to Houdini. And you basically had that conversation as part of your video on your channel about trying to get to that point where you're in Cinema 4D, you understand the concepts. There's certain things you want to do that require the use of Houdini, and how you get to that and how you remember. Because tutorials, I think you said this in the video, you go through a tutorial and then you go to the next chapter and you just don't remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
On the last chapter. It's like you almost need some sort of repetition. So you were kind of having the same conversation with him about moving into that. Are you how often do you find yourself in Houdini? If at all, like how much of a part of your workflow is it right now?
It's a big part of the pipeline, but with Houdini, I tried to fully switch to it, render in it, assemble scenes in it. And then I tried to specifically do some sims, which I still do now. And then I tried to somehow advance my skills in Houdini, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm total doofus, total Houdini doofus, and whatever I'm trying to do, there will always be wax. I can't even pronounce this word, wax. Who came up with this? I can't, advance myself in it. Probably because I'm losing focus all the time. I'm, YouTube or whatever experiments and fun are not my full-time stuff. Commercial work is.
Right.
So that explains why I'm not fully present on YouTube, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just ended up hiring contractors for specific tasks, and especially if I need something quick, I don't have time to fool around, which I'm always doing. I'm just fooling around in Houdini.
That happens a lot, actually. Like, Matt and I will be working on a project, and something comes up, and it's like, well, we could try and do that in Houdini, and it's like, yeah, we could try and do that in Houdini.
Yeah.
But again, it always comes up to that time constraint, right? Because you're not sitting down trying to complete a project just to play around. You got a client waiting for you.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? Let's just do it in cinema because we got to get this thing out the door. You never get a chance, Oh, there's my alarm to buy a dead mouse head. I got 10
Dead
minutes.
mouse.
Yeah, it's an NFT project. We'll talk about that in the NFT section. But there's a Smearballs worked with Dead Mouse to do these Dead Mouse heads as a collection. Okay. So I'm buying one in 10 minutes. So I'm like
10
standing
minutes.
by 10 minutes. Yeah. So what Simon told me when we were talking about that, because I asked him the question, how do you get into it? How do you get into it? He would get up every morning and he would find something like that he already knew how to do in cinema, and then try and figure out, okay,
Yeah.
how can I do this in Houdini? Which is a great way to look at it, but still, I just like, I don't have the discipline to. I just don't. I don't have the discipline to do it.
I don't know about discipline, but it's dictated by the circumstances in your life. Do you have that time? Do you have that opportunity to do the switch? I probably could do the switch, but I just don't have downtime, like at all, which is probably a good thing, and I shouldn't moan about it. But seriously, if I would have like 3 months to do the switch, I would.
Yeah,
Right.
But
sure.
it's just quite painful.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's the way that I've felt as well with Houdini. Like I went through our entire course that we have, you know, and I really like it. I felt like things just didn't click immediately, you know, like as far as like, you know, scattering points and cloners and stuff. Like I think the C4D weight, and it has taken me a bit to understand the Houdini way of doing things, you know, but I feel like with enough repetition and stuff, like there's a point in which your brain just kind of clicks and says, okay, I kind of get this concept now. For me, it's all about remembering which node goes where, you know, because I can't ever remember the you know, the series in which you do things.
Right.
Yeah,
and
well,
which nodes to use.
Clarice, in addition to this fantastic duo, would be another philosophy that you have to understand, and it's totally different from Houdini and Cinema 4D. But what's good about Clarice is that it's very friendly to Houdini. It can read it all. Cinema 4D can't. Cinema 4D is... I'm super mad at Maxon, who is a sponsor of this channel or video. I would say some nasty things, but I won't.
Well, it doesn't have to be nasty. It can be constructive. They take constructive criticism, for sure, and I think they take it. I think they take it to heart, even if they can't release it right away.
Yeah, I know, but I think Maxon is focusing on totally wrong things for several years in a row instead of actually addressing real issues for, you know, some more advanced users. For example, if you have, I don't know, simple thing, flip simulation in Houdini, that has animated UVs. If you would export that in Cinema 4D, you won't have that because it can't read it. It doesn't even recognize you or give you any options to read that stuff from Houdini. So here you go, straight away. You can't use Cinema 4D for certain things. You have to externally bake animated whatever textures you have in Houdini to use them with Octane or Redshift or something. Whereas Clarice reads that stuff automatic by default. It just knows it's there and have no issues with reading anything, really.
Well, I think that stuff is important to note, though, because, you know, if Maxon doesn't listen to that kind of feedback, they're never going to, or not even listen to it. If Maxon doesn't get that feedback from people in the first place, you know, like...
I think considering the features that they offer for last several years, they are quite clear with the market they're targeting, you know?
Yeah.
Magic Bullet looks and...
Because they're bringing the Red Giant stuff into it.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. Then UI update that looks like a Blender. What was that about? Renaming all the tools. I did install R25, but I feel like I'm not home. I'm like...
I get that. I've been using it for like 2 weeks now, you know, and it's starting to feel better. You know, I don't find myself fumbling around so much. Yeah,
it's a tough call because I'm sure every program at some point, you know, there's a team that's like, should we redo this interface or not redo this interface? And it's tough because you know there's going to be a backlash. You know people aren't going to like it, even if you offer, like they do, the option to go back to the old interface if you want to use the old, you know, the old arrangement. And it's something that I'm trying to force myself to do. I know Matt's working on it as
it's funny. Like, so yesterday I was in 25. I was messing around with things. One thing that annoys me is that you don't have the coordinates in the new one. You know, because what I would always do is if I'm if I'm sculpting or modeling or something. So I'll take points and like I'll scale them down to 0%, or I'd scale them and then I'd go down to my coordinates and say scale at 0, And so like I couldn't do that with the normal thing because the coordinate system it's like only on the modeling one. Anyway, I found a workaround to it, and I actually like the workaround better. But so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just go to the old version. And I switched to the old layout, and I was like, oh, you know what? This doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as good. It doesn't like the new version actually feels better. It looks better, And once you get an idea of where everything is, it feels a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm actually don't mind it. I just think the priorities are not the best ones. For example, I'm working on something right now. And I thought I'll do it in cinema, but then cinema starts to struggle with like a couple of millions of polygons.
Right.
Come on, seriously? In 2021, the software can't be like that.
Yeah.
I want to play. Yeah.
Is that in 25? Okay, yeah.
I want to play 10 millions of points real time, like I can in Houdini. Like even 50 million points, I can play them.
Right.
And then
what are your thoughts on the future with like capsules and stuff like that?
Yeah.
What capsules?
Capsules. The new Maxon stuff. It's kind of I think it's their Houdini
It's kind of beta.
Yeah.
It's a lot of under the hood stuff right now.
Oh, the neutron.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I think they call it capsules. It's their node system, basically. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was waiting for since they announced it. Like the CEO said, like, it's literally gonna happen right now. He said like a couple of months in the presentation. If someone doesn't believe me, he can find that video on internet. Where is it, Mr. CEO?
Well, there is some stuff in there.
There is some stuff in 25. Yeah.
Some stuff is not. Some stuff is not enough.
Yeah.
Some stuff is not enough.
They introduced it a little bit in 24, and then brought in
nodes.
some more in 25. I think it's a continuing thing. I don't know.
I think Chris Schmidt has done a lot into it, and probably has some videos on it as well. He's really he dived into all of that. But my thought in seeing it, even though I haven't had much of a chance, again, this is the Houdini problem, right? Like I haven't had a chance to play with that stuff because I can't even get projects done in order to get into 25, in order to learn it, in order to be able to test the new stuff. That's my problem as an artist. But what I'm hoping with this is that is a sign of where they are headed, where they're trying to go with this, that they are listening. Right. I feel like it's a slow burn right now, and I'm hoping that it happens before it's too late. I've got to say, because you see all these people that learn Blender for free, and it's like, well, that's hard to compete with. It's very hard to compete with.
Well, Blender is I don't know. I'm really interested in Blender, seriously, especially when I sold the company. Everything was a bit of uncertain in terms of what will be my commercial life and finance situation, I was considering Blender like a serious alternative, and especially I'm super inspired by Jan Hubert, right? That dude is crazy what he does with Blender. But in the same time, if you will get in Blender, even navigation is what the F is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, ZBrush is not a toy. It's like a super alien interface in there, but I had some experience from 2012 and something, and I jumped into it. I refreshed the memory with some shortcuts, and here I am. I'm flying in there. But Blender, like, seriously, I don't know how to use that thing, and I'm not sure that I'm over 30 now. I'm not sure I can use my mind anymore.
That's the thing. Like we talk about that all the time. It's like we want cinema to evolve because we want to stay in cinema. We don't want to have to learn that. I open up Blender and I look at that interface and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to. We want to stay in there, and at the same time, let's be honest. When we were 20 years old, let's say you're 20 years old and you go to work for a place and there's that guy. He's like, I'm still on Lightwave.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Lightwave. You don't want to be that guy. Whatever program it is, when you get older, you want to be able to keep up and keep learning, because you don't want to be that guy. You know that guy. You know, it's and luckily the way things have evolved on the internet now is that it is easier to keep up. Back then, if you were on Lightwave, you learned Lightwave. If 3D Studio Max came out, you couldn't necessarily just go learn tutorials on how to use Max and be on your way. Now,
the thing is,
you can keep
Lightwave
up.
was also easier to crack back in the day than some of the other ones. You know.
Yeah, like Thomas says in the comments, we're going to be the Maya guys soon. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody who is in Blender lets you know that they're in Blender. You don't have to ask if somebody is a Blender person; they tell you.
They'll let you.
They'll let you know.
They're the vegans of the motion design.
The vegans
industry.
of motion design industry. So,
Andre, have you used any other any software like Maya?
other
Maya
3D
You mentioned
software?
3ds Max, right?
3D Max, because I
Yeah.
had to do some commercial interior work in it.
Mm-hmm.
Was working in an interior company. And then Maya, because I wanted to dive into animation. And then I discovered cinema. And then it clicked that it's super intuitive, you know?
Yeah.
That I actually wanted to say that my rage on Maxon is probably not justified, because I know backend developers and developers and in general, and I know it's
Sure.
it's hard. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm probably blaming the marketing of it. Don't tease something
Yeah.
that people really want, and then not release it for years. That's not a good move. It's not a good thing, especially for professionals. And I mean, when I was running out of nothing with my partners, right, a lot of big financial decisions were based on those promises.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, you can't do that with people.
And it's also tough to find that balance, because if you don't say anything at all about your roadmap, then people are also upset that you haven't talked about your roadmap. And so we know how hard that is. What would be the solution? What would be the solution in this case in order to be able to communicate with them about what you really want, what artists really want, so that we can stay in our favorite program, and, you know, especially doing stuff in the viewport.
Yeah, they should probably start a conversation with people outside of Mograph as such, you know, motion design. People who like fantastic artist, Aaron Sorensen. I don't remember the name
Love
of
Aaron
his.
Sorensen. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a VFX guy. He knows what this kind of production needs. He knows what lacks in Cinema 4D, and he actually switched to Clarice because there are reasons for it.
And the VFX industry.
Same reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we became, I think a lot of us came into this through Cinema 4D, right? So we're like, oh, Cinema 4D, and then this complements it, and then this over here complements it, and it's kind of the center of our world, where I feel like there's a lot of VFX people that's not the center of their world, right? Like they are maybe more compositors, or maybe they're in more complex programs, and Cinema 4D isn't necessarily something they're going to stick with. You got people like, think about Brandon Clements, for example. Brandon Clements is all over the place. He's into Unreal. He's into...
I'll be right back.
All right. He's into Blender, all of that. Matt's got to hurry because I got to buy my dead mouse head. But I think it's just important for these companies to note these things and then say, okay, well, what can we do to fix that? Because I keep hearing the same thing, and I don't know what the solution is. You know, should there be like a panel of designers?
I mean, the pain in all industries is bloody marketing. It stops evolution. Yeah, for example, Unreal Engine. It's a really promising tool, really controversial. I don't know my opinion about it. I'm still due to try it properly, create something, you know, decent with it. But damn, that's probably the future. But then again, it's a game engine, and they started to advertise it as a filmmakers and CG artists tool, which it's not. It's still a game development engine. It's the first focus of this software. When I come in, Unreal Engine with my background like over a decade of different softwares like Maya Cinema 4D and stuff. I don't understand what the hell is going on in there. There are what characters in there? I don't know. How do I use this? And yeah, you can get used to it, but it's quite painful, and I think you shouldn't really advertise it anything like other than game engine, you know.
Right. Yeah. Trying to use Unreal. You know, Jeremy and I were working on some stuff for an upcoming course on Unreal, right? That Brandon is doing for us. We opened up Unreal to try and edit something that he did and render out a movie, and just trying to figure out keyframes was like maddening, right? And we're like, what is going on? And then we realized that some of it was done in Blueprint, and it's not the same thing. Like, so all this talk on the internet about you can use Unreal to do motion graphics now. We're like, who's actually doing it? Like, everybody's just talking about it, right? And so you look at something like Cinema 4D. I'm sure, I don't know what the percentage is of motion artists who are using it. A lot of people are not using billions of polygons. A lot of people are not using, they're not pushing it that far, because a lot of the people that are doing that are already doing it in something else. So I'm imagining that's kind of what you're getting at with that. But let's look at Apple, for example. Apple, they did the iPhone years ago, and all of a sudden they're not like a computer company anymore. They're a phone company.
Yeah.
So they realize that this is the market, and they go to it. I hate to make it that simple. But do you think that, not just Maxon, but all of these companies they're going to have obligations to shareholders and all of that? How can you find a balance to where the software is still good, the shareholders are happy, and
I don't know. I'm not the person to answer these questions. I hate all the management, and it's tough thing to be a CEO or whatever, the man in charge or whoever makes a decision, especially if it influences some development routes. I wouldn't want to be that person. But I mean, the promo videos they're putting out, it's fantastic work, and the softwares are capable of that fantastic work, and it's a tough year where we live in, because it's really kind of depressive not to know what to choose. You can't really guess which one will be the top horse in future. So I don't know. You just have to reference what your needs are, what you're trying to do, what type of scenery you're trying to do. I'm on that. I don't know what to do, what to use for. Since 2019, when I quit Octane, I turned to Redshift. Thought that will help me to do my stuff. But then I released that video, another study with the car. What was it called? e-tron or the Canyon or something like that. And it didn't look the same as my previous works with Octane. I couldn't, for the life of me, I can't get the same look out of Redshift, so I quit Redshift. And now Clarice, it is slow, but it gives me path tracer look, like Octane.
Yeah,
it's unbiased engine, and I love it.
One of the things that I always tend to think about when it comes to any company or any piece of software is that there are certain features or certain things that only the nerdiest of the nerds are using. And I think that even though the majority of the people aren't using it, it still is helpful to have to give those people those things. Let's take Mac, for example, right? If you were a heavy Mac user in the early 2000s, you were in it for the Mac. You weren't in it for the iPhone because it didn't exist yet. You know, you were in it for the nerdiness of the Mac and what you could do with it, right? And so what happens when mom and dad come to you and they ask you, what computer should I get? You're not going to tell them to get a PC. You're going to tell them to get a Mac, right? And so I think it's kind of a trickle-down effect. If you have somebody that is working in a really great program and somebody comes along and they said, well, what should I use? You're the nerdiest of the nerd on this. You're going to tell them, what you're using. And they might not use it to that potential. They might only make a rotating cube in it. But I guess what I'm getting at is it needs to be something accessible for all levels. I would love to, and it seems like this is where they're going with this. And again, it's my fault for not having enough time to play in this. But it seems like what they're getting to is that you will be able to have your Cinema 4D and you'll be able to open the hood and get underneath. And I feel like that appeals for everybody. And I know it's so easy for any company to say, this is what appeals to the masses. This is what we need to do. But I feel like being very broad, a very broad Swiss Army knife has payoff in the long term.
I mean, thinking about it that way, look at After Effects, right? After Effects, I mean, how often do they update to something really good or useful or cool or whatever?
Never.
Like this new version, has multi-frame rendering and, rendering in the background and stuff like that, which is awesome. We've only been asking for that for like 10 years now. And
you do have a little millisecond read on the bottom. That's pretty cool.
It is it is like you said, it's like a Swiss Army knife where people create plugins specifically for it in order for you to be able to do the things that you need to do in After Effects.
Well, my problem, I'm a big After Effects hater.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's unbeatable in certain things, and I still use it myself. Yeah, like literally today, I noticed they updated the interface. There's that green graph when you're rendering. What's that about? What's new? Is there something like...
You talking about the one where it's rendering in the background?
I don't know. There was something different.
I think it's pre-rendering, and you also have a readout at the bottom. This was actually, and Billy and I were looking at this on Discord the other day. You can make design decisions or plugin decisions based on this readout now at the bottom, because it says, oh, well, you're adding this heavy effect. This is going to add a whole second to each frame of render.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is cool, because it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I don't need this heavy plugin. Maybe there's maybe I can use box blur instead of Gaussian blur. Maybe that'll change my render time. I do like that.
I only use After Effects for interface, obviously, animation, icons, animations, tag titles, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm running Discord with linked to Patreon, right? People joining and asking questions, and like 100% of people joining are on After Effects for compositing, which is I don't know how. That's all Kramer's actually fault. He started to bloody do it. But After Effects is not for compositing, and especially if you're looking to step up your game, you have to switch to something node-based like Nuke or Fusion.
Which one do you use?
Yeah, I bought Nuke again, but still use Fusion. I don't know. I can't seem to switch to Nuke. I don't like how it behaves itself. Just use it for several specific tools. And then I'm rendering something in Fusion, bringing it to Nuke, do my specific thing, re-exporting back to get that pass.
That's funny.
Bring it back to Fusion, because Fusion is free for all my nodes, while Nuke is not, and it's stuck on this machine.
Right.
But yeah, where was I? After Effects for compositing. I'm mentioning it like in every video I'm making since 2018, in all my chats and emails. Just try to switch to Fusion for that and use After Effects as your assets maker for something, not the bloody compositing tool. Yeah. You will feel the difference.
Nuke feels really heavy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
do
so
you
hard.
Do you like Ace's workflow in After Effects?
I haven't used it in After Effects. Matt has.
I didn't hate it, you know, like the what is it, the Open Color IO, you know, converter or what. It was fine. I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
But
Have no argument.
I'm so
Like here, I guess here's my question.
So
like,
used to working in After Effects and having to do all these ridiculous workarounds that maybe like
Yeah.
I don't know. Once I jumped into Fusion, so I actually do a lot of compositing in After Effects. You know, I have tried Fusion, and the things that I feel like there's multiple steps, like too many steps to get one simple thing in After Effects. You know, now trust me, I hate on After Effects just as much as everyone else does. You know. But I've been in it for so long that like I know how things work quickly.
but if you're doing like, here's the deal: if you're doing like a very simple thing, right? You're trying to do. You rendered out a sequence in Cinema 4D. You've got maybe some PNG sequences. You want to maybe throw a couple things on it. You need an alpha channel for something. Call it a day. There are so many steps to set that up in Nuke. Compared to After Effects, I feel like there's never a happy medium in there, you know. And of course, EXR workflow, I get it. Like Francisco's talking about here. I mean, EXR workflow is improved in AE, but EXR workflow in After Effects is awful for the most part.
Yeah.
Trying to pull,
There
trying
should
to
be
pull
that
layers and
extractor, whatever. That's supposed
Extractor,
to
yeah.
really easily extract layers. That wasn't my concern about After Effects. And in Nuke, I know what you mean, but there are people like Simon, for instance, who love to shuffle out passes individually, while I prefer scripts in Fusion that would do like separate readouts for me in one click.
Right. And that's the thing is you got that and you got the nodes. It's really hard to do something like, say, put in extractor, find that one layer, attach it to the layer you're working on, copy the layer, paste the layer in After Effects, go back to the extractor plugin. Like that is great, but it's like, what is your biggest beef with After Effects? Would you say? Like what?
Sorry, I missed that.
What's your biggest problem with After Effects?
The speed is so slow. It's like cinema.
So slow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like trying to do a 4K comp or something, right?
That is
That's
one thing that I
painful.
did enjoy about Fusion when I was working with it. It was smoking fast in comparison to After Effects. Yes.
Well, yeah, because it tries to utilize more resources of your machine more efficiently, but commercially we had to deal with resolutions like 12K and more. In After Effects,
Won't do
was
it.
that? So in 6K was my last project I attempted to. I did it, but it was like up to 10 hours of render of like 30
about right.
seconds video. It's unacceptable. Then Fusion, it will become slow. It's not a magic pill, but it will steadily, you know, go through it. And especially when you can easily put it on a render form, and it will not as painful as After Effects render form. It's just, it works same as Cinema 4D or Clarice on a render form. And it's free. It's fast, it's free, it's meant for the ACES, EXR, whatever, that stuff. It's compositing software from the capital C. No.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit, because I forget which video it was. You were talking a little bit about burnout, and I wanted to get into a little bit of like work-life balance, family, all of that stuff, and talk to you a bit about that.
Should have called my wife. That would be fun.
We've always talked about having like the wife episode where the wives come on, and it'd be such a bad idea.
Oh
Such
man,
a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
Now,
just have them complain about us the whole time.
Yeah. Do you you have one child? Is that right?
No, 2 kids.
2 kids.
2 kids. Yeah.
2 kids, and my wife is my hero.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like the work-life balance and how you deal with that?
So yeah, well,
That's why he said his wife is a hero.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, our circumstances are so we don't have any help with children, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And with the COVID and all lockdowns and schools being shut, and even before that, I mean, my oldest one is 6, and the youngest girl is 1-ish. And my wife was there for them all the time. And for me, she's like a producer of my life. She sorts certain things in everything, allowing me to concentrate and to work and to sit here with you guys. I know it's afternoon. We're in LA. It's actually almost 10 p.m. at my place, and still here I am sitting here.
Yeah.
While she's with the kids, and all these years since the beginning, it's all thanks to her. Yeah, and it's a big sacrifice from her side, because she had to sacrifice a career and, you know, trust in me.
Yeah.
And allow me to be here to do that stuff. There's no balance. It's destructive, unhealthy, bad shit.
All right.
But you can work around it by stop, you know, trying to do it all yourself. We as designers, I'm sure you can relate. There are points in your career where you're obsessed of, I have to do it all myself. Have to do it. Have to be the dude who do it all by himself. Have to control everything. I still have to control everything, but don't have to do it all myself. So, hence I mentioned I'm hiring contractors for a certain job instead of killing time here at nights trying to figure something I don't really want to figure out. I just give this task to professionals and, you know, call it a day.
Yeah.
It's kind of my first attempts to get that balance. I hope to get there, and it's one of those industries. It's just, they say, like, if you love something, you won't work a day in your life. That's the biggest lie I've heard. No.
The problem is that even if you want to be that person that like does everything yourself, there's still one resource that you cannot get more, or that you can't get more of, which is time, right? And so then it becomes a matter of, okay, well, which thing is priority? I mean, this is something that I deal with all the time. I try to tell myself these things all the time. I'm sure everybody else does. You know, oh, well, farm that out to somebody, like you said. Farm that out to somebody else, and then you have to make a decision. Okay, well, if you are the type of person that wants to do everything yourself, which things are you willing to let go of? You know, which things, you know, even though you love doing it, which thing can you let go of? And then the other thing is you have to, and that helps you get some of your time back, right? You have to do that in exchange for money, but at least you have that time back. That's that resource. And you also have to have people in your life that are understanding, because let's face it, like, this is a very different lifestyle. It's not a 9-to-5. You have to have people that are understanding. And like, who was it? I already passed in the chat. Bobby said, my ex didn't understand what we do. She thought I was just spending too much time in front of the computer. I, you know, come from a previous marriage where that was a tough thing as well. It's very hard for the other person, and it's, you know, you have to be with somebody that understands that what you're doing and why. It's nice when you find somebody that is supportive of that, and understands that you're not just sitting around surfing Reddit.
Right.
You know, you're trying to make stuff work, and it's a weird industry where things are always changing and you're constantly learning. You know, I'm sure there are other industries where you are learning, but I feel like so much changes so fast in this industry now, especially with NFTs.
Oh yeah.
You know, how does your family deal with it? Are they okay with it? Do they understand?
Well, I have to note that all the negative stuff I said sort of negative stuff I said about that relates to people who are business owners, contractors, freelancers. It may not be the case with the studio job.
Right.
You know,
Right.
a lot of people prefer studio job just because of that, because they want their life back.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. With my wife, though, we're together for a long time. We knew each other before I started 3D. I was doing some Photoshop stuff with photos. She knew how that was. And then she saw the whole development process. She was there. So she knows why, she knows what for, and she kind of knows where we're going together. She's actually my business partner right now. We run this company together now.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a motivated, interested person.
That's another thing too. Is if that person is interested in what you're doing, or is involved with what you're doing, it's a little bit easier. Julie is going to start helping us with stuff. Amy's going to start Matt's wife is going to start helping with stuff, and I think it's great because now it's kind of like family business, right?
Absolutely,
You know,
fantastic.
so
yeah,
it's a little more understandable. You know, Julie,
When your kid tells you that he wants to be a 3D animator when he grows up, that's a good feeling.
Yeah,
Like, you don't know what you're in for, but sure, that's great.
yeah. You don't want to do that, trust me.
nice.
Yeah,
Go be a doctor. That's easier.
Right. There's something nice about when everybody's involved. You know, like Julie, you know, does camp with us and everything like that. You know, it's not this mysterious thing anymore. It's not this mysterious. You know, I'm going up to my computer to just do things.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little more involved in it. And
Is that the camp that was recently there in
Yeah.
LA? Because Clint told me about something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was in Portland.
in
yeah,
Portland,
the Camp Mograph.
yeah, Clint
Okay.
was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel envy now.
You should
You
come to the
gotta
next
come to the
one.
next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to US. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, you
There's
got to
your
come.
chance. Yeah.
As soon as we figure out what's going on with COVID over here, you should come over.
Yeah.
And come hang out with us. We've also talked about doing some stuff overseas as well.
Yeah.
Doing
yeah.
like Mograph. Or, I know
I
EJ
figured
wants
out.
that really
I figured
bad.
out. So actually, the UK has some Americanized style camps that we
Really?
could rent out and stuff. Yeah, it'd be fun to do a Camp Mograph European or something.
That would be fun.
Yeah. I also figured out how we could do a Camp Mograph Iceland, which I think would be way killer. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I want.
Yeah. That's what I want too.
Well, you have one cinematographer up for it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. Let's see. I have so much on here. What time is it? Okay. Let's talk about upcoming projects. Do you have anything that you're working on currently that you can talk about? Of course, you know, sometimes it's a
nothing.
big secret. What
I
about
can't-
for? What's that?
Can't talk about anything until 2025.
Jeez.
Oh, it's gonna be a while. What about your YouTube channel? Do you have anything coming up on that you can talk about?
Well, see, that my YouTube is my embarrassment, because every time I'm kind of doing comeback, I'm saying like, hey, there's a big change in my life now. I will have time for YouTube, and then I disappear for bloody half a year.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Nah, no plans, but everything is planned. A lot of content. I actually have a huge folder of little notes for topics I could record. And then I'm actually building the studio right now to make it more easy. You don't have to set up anything. Everything is permanently here. I just press record and record it.
Right.
So maybe it will become more consistent.
That's something that was really hard getting into. Just starting to live stream is not have it all set up. It's like before we had our studio and stuff, kind of situated, it was like, okay, well, every week I got to take out the lights and I got to set up the camera.
Yeah.
And that's like that hurdle. That's that weird hurdle. You're just like, I don't want to do that. Makes it so much easier if you have the topic and you just sit and go. That's probably why I didn't do any tutorials for so many years. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
Well, while I was at Out of Nothing, I had business partners, so I couldn't really do, my personal YouTube
Right,
setups
right,
or
right,
whatever
yeah.
in the big studio where we've built together. But here now I can do it. Can do that because previously we were living in a small apartment first, and I was setting the videos with orange background, the first ones. That was a really small corner in our bedroom in a small apartment, so I couldn't leave the lights just standing there because little one is running.
Yep.
So it was two hours to set the light up. Then maybe I will record something. And funnily enough, I was more consistent then than I am now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something's wrong.
is what was I going to ask you on it was on Simon's video. You were talking about you're kind of an introvert, right? Are you how introverted are you? Like, are you the type of introvert like me, where going into quarantine was kind of okay, this is just fine?
Oh yeah, we had that section in that video where Simon, we both thought like we probably shouldn't say that in this way, but we both were like, COVID. Yeah, I was born for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not a funny.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we know what you're saying.
But yeah, it's a great excuse for curious minds like ours to, not taking your ass off the chair and just do your stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not, in terms of introversion, I don't know. I am. I love that. But if I need to do public speaking in front of 1,000 people, that's not a problem. I will find energy to do that as well.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question, actually, is being an introvert, how do you, I guess, do you feel like there's a separation? Me personally, I feel like I have the on and off switch, right? I am not an extrovert, right? I think the term would be introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert. I don't know which. You got to turn it on. Do you feel like you have to turn it on, or does it come easy for you?
I don't know. I think it depends on your current life circumstances. And I know for sure that for Video Copilot talk, I was recovering for quite a while after so much interaction with people,
Right.
It will happen, but then you will recover for some time. I actually have a video about being an introvert.
That's funny. That's funny.
And what
COVID was the opposite for me. Like,
yeah.
I'm a very extroverted person. I enjoy being around people, and like being stuck at home with just the family, that just about killed me. I love my family, but it did just about kill me.
Yeah, you must specify. But yeah, Matt's ready to go. He's ready to go out. He's ready to get on planes. He's ready to go around and do all the things. And I'm just like, yeah.
I'm like, Dave, come to Burbank with me. It's like, no, I'm not going to go to Burbank. No, I don't want to fly.
COVID was destructive for everyone in my family except me. Really, my little girl, she's a really communicative, like little sunshine. My wife is the same, and then they're locked inside. They hated it.
Yeah.
I got some questions that I wrote here. One of them is about the metaverse. We'll hold on to that until the NFT section. This one, it says super noob question. Any way to separate Redshift Bloom as a separate pass like in Octane?
Yeah, stupid thing that they are not actually.
Can you not?
Yeah. Yes. No. Please, bloody fix it, Maxon, now or whoever. It's so silly. The only way you can do is by subtractive compositing, which is quite a painful thing. It's the opposite of rebuilding the beauty pass from passes. There are filters and special thingies. Not gonna lie, I never done it. I just know how it works. You subtract certain data from pixels to get what you need. So that way you can extract bloom because it's not present in your passes, like diffuse pass, reflection pass, it's not there, but it is in your beauty render, right?
Mm-hmm.
So using that subtractive blah blah, you can divide the beauty from post pass and do it that way. But if actually you're using here you go, I got a screwdriver again.
Yeah.
If you're using a proper compositing software like Fusion or Nuke, they have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tools for custom-made blooms and flares and all that.
I have heard that, yes.
Big reason to switch.
Any other non-related NFT questions in the chat right now? Just to, before we get to the NFT section, just put them in there. And in the meantime, we are going to do Mograph recommends, and this will be pretty interesting today, I think. We're basically going to ask you some of your favorite things and kind of find out like what influences you from different mediums. And the way we'll start that out is asking you what your favorite movie is. And these can be of all time or these could be recents.
Avatar, hands down.
Okay.
Really inspired, and that rainforest at dawn study, I wanted to do it since I saw Avatar.
What specifically about Avatar was it that makes it your favorite?
Probably not the story, but the world Cameron created, and Cameron is one of the inspirational people for myself. He's the driver of the industry with now Favreau, Cameron, Robert Rodriguez, who shot Mandalorian. Those people, they're driving their trend, kind of, they're setting up the trends, they're dictating the future, hugely inspired. And if I ever have a chance to shake their hands, I will consider my life complete.
Is there a part 2 coming out?
Yeah.
2 and 3.
2 and 3?
Yeah, I think they've already shot both of them.
Is there any date? Or?
They will be here soon.
Yeah.
As far as
What about TV shows?
Rewatched Friends recently.
Okay.
That's funny.
One thing I appreciate about
I
appreciate about Friends that I think they did correctly, because it took them a long time to get over to like the streaming service. They went back and they remastered all of it to be in 16:9 versus 4:3 cropped. And I really appreciated that. I think Seinfeld did the same as well.
Simpsons.
The Simpsons stayed 4:3.
The other way.
Right. Yeah. Instead of like adding on to 16:9, but like, I don't know. I was really happy that they did that.
Yeah, a lot of shows that you can appreciate, but I just don't have time. And Friends is something I've seen like numerous times, and I always, in terms of music that you listen when you work, it can be some soundtracks from movies, something not bloody dubstep or something, or AC/DC from powerful music.
Right.
Or it will be a show or a movie that you've seen like hundreds of times playing on the background.
Yeah.
It won't distract you because you don't have to watch it. You know what's happening. You just listen to it.
Yeah.
So Friends is one of those shows. That's probably why I'm rewatching it.
It's actually, I guess there was an interesting study or something that was done, and they were talking about like why people like to put that stuff on. And besides, when you're working, it's kind of this, and it's not something you really have to pay a lot of attention to. There's something psychological when watching like The Office over and over, because you know how it ends. There's no drama. There's no, you're not on your edge of your seat waiting to figure it out. It's very comforting to know that like it's controlled, and you know that
makes you feel home. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good old
I saw
Michael
somewhere
Scott.
that said, when someone asks, "Do you watch The Office?" it implies that they never actually stop watching The Office.
Right.
They just continue watching The Office.
That's true.
Nice.
The next one on the list is, and you touched on it for a minute, but music. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Okay.
What do you think? 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 What do you think?
Yeah.
Are you the type of person that listens to one type of music when you work and one type of music when you don't work, or is it all just kind of the same thing?
No, I'm super mixed. One track can be AC/DC, the next one will be some Russian rap, the next one will be some French trash. I don't know, something. A total mix of different genres.
I thought you were gonna say you listen to the French Monkey.
Yeah, the French Monkey.
French Monkey is brilliant. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I haven't talked to that guy in a while. I think I saw him.
He
in
was
the
on
chat
earlier. Yeah, he was in the chat at the beginning.
Yeah. Something else I was going to mention when we were on TV shows and I forgot is I guess there's an I Am Groot animated series coming to Disney.
Oh, really?
Studios.
Yeah. They just announced a whole bunch of new stuff coming to Disney Plus. So
I think
I don't know.
you know, Kirsten Lepore. I think she had something to do with it because it was kind of a vague Twitter thing, like, "Oh, now the cat's out of the bag" or something. Like, I don't know if she's involved in it or what, but you know her. She did. What did she do, Matt? You know who I'm talking about. Right?
Yeah, it was the "Hey There" or something. What is it?
The naked dude with the butt.
Yeah.
Was like,
yeah.
"Hey there, friend," or whatever. But
Yeah.
she also did stuff for Yo Gabba Gabba. What else did she? She did something else animated. Was it? Oh, the episode of Adventure Time with the claymation stuff. And I think she's involved in that project too. It's a weird story. I just happened to run into her in real life in Austin one time, just in passing at a convention, and was like, "Aren't you Kirsten Lepore?" And she's like, "Yeah," like kind of creepster-ish. like how do you know who I am? I always wanted her to like come on the show and talk about like claymation and stuff because like that's her main thing, and it's just such a beautiful art form still. And you know, kind of like when we had God, my mind's blank. Coraline.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. What is my problem? I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that would be fun. So I don't know what her involvement is, but I'll put a link to that in show notes. You can check that out. The next thing
that's
on the list.
This dreaming thing. You just talk for so long, then you forget what you were. Why am I saying this?
Why am I here? What is your? Do you listen to podcasts while you're working as well, or is that?
No, because I don't know. It's probably that information perception thing. I have to listen then. And especially if it's something interesting, I won't be working. I have to listen.
Right.
So, yeah, it has to be something I already know. Then I can listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And what about your favorite plugin? It can't be a render engine. Can't be, and it can't be Clarice. It's got to be like, do you have a go-to plugin?
From recent ones or what?
Well, it could be either. Could be either or.
Yeah.
Well, for Cinema 4D, I quite enjoyed the quad remesher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's good.
Yeah, had to. So if you know what my work, I'm a hard surface guy usually, and suddenly I had to bloody model a sneaker.
Ooh.
Nice.
So yeah, quad remesher was a big helper in this process, and yeah, finished the task. I'm actually trying to switch from being a hard surface guy to a character.
Oh yeah,
that's tough.
Kind of involved. Yeah, that's why I'm doing sculpting now.
Characters are so tough, man, and I just every time I work with a character animation, I'm just like, I just don't think I could do this full time.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't know. Something doesn't click in my head. I can't figure it out. Some people are just so good at it, you know.
Well, it depends on what type of characters. I actually found that I'm good at likeness sculpting. I can sculpt you both. It will look the same, which is quite interesting. I didn't absolutely expect this, but you just learn the anatomy of the face, some bones, and then you can bloody just do it from scratch. You just know how the face is built, the proportions, and then you can look at the photo here, and just recreate the faces. I'm actually not interested in that. I'm interested in creatures, you know, something fantasy related, not realistic.
Tori Bryant.
You're so funny.
I know.
But
Just
that was
popped
so
up.
fucking
It was
Ukraine.
driving me nuts. Tori Bryant was the person I was thinking of. My head.
Oh, okay.
What about the rigging and stuff of the characters, though? Like, how do you? What is your resource for getting into more advanced rigging, weighting, all of that? Because that's the part that where my mind just like.
I don't know yet, mate, but I'll find that out and I will record a video about it, how I overcame the challenge. I'm probably my strongest suit is nothing I'm doing or whatever skill set I have, but I'm not afraid of any shit. I actually have no fear right here.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. What about app? If you're on your phone, what is your go-to app right now?
YouTube Studio.
Okay. That's cool. Did
Are
you
you-
get one of the silver YouTube 100,000 subscribers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's there,
Nice. Nice.
hanging on the wall.
Yeah,
just joined that
EJ
list.
just
Yeah.
just joined that list of people who hit 100,000 subscribers.
It
It's
was
cool.
a funny story with this one. Sometimes in UK can be super advanced in terms of deliveries and availability of things.
Mhm.
But with this button, I was waiting for it so badly. It was like, oh my God, YouTube button. I'm gonna get it. Oh my God, YouTube button. And then I'm receiving a bloody really expensive electric wakeboard something.
Uh-huh.
Surfing board, you know, and I'm like Googling, it's $7,000 worth board, and I'm like, should I leave it or should, but then I want my button more, so I just returned it and
That's funny.
got my button.
Did you have to pay for the button?
No, it's free.
Oh, okay, that's what I was gonna say. I was pretty sure it was free. Yeah. Huh.
No, but someone instead of his super expensive board received some dude's bloody YouTube button and was like, where's my board?
Oh. That's funny.
I don't know. I think I'd keep the. I think I'd keep the YouTube thing personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one on the list. Oh, actually, I had a question too while we were on the apps. Is Instagram? Now you do post some things on Instagram, but
Yeah.
and so you're on there. Some people aren't even on Instagram, and I'm curious, like with the way things are going right now in NFTs, and obviously Instagram's still around. But what a lot of people talk about is the fact that your engagement on Instagram is what? A heart? Someone will heart your stuff. Where does that get you? It's not money. You're not getting money.
Well,
from
actually,
hearts,
Instagram
you know?
for me is a good platform to communicate with my audience. I do read comments on YouTube, but I don't reply because they're usually 99% of them are repeated, or people not willing to search for the answer, or you know the
Right.
drill.
Yeah.
Right.
But the Instagram has these convenient things like primary, general, and then requests.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I click request, it's people who are new and asking something. I'm reading if it's something I can quickly reply to, or I'm interested in replying and doing it. Or there are people who I communicated before, and I'm usually, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not usually, but I'm trying to reply in comments under Instagram posts because it's the platform I'm posting and publishing something the least on.
Right.
So yeah, you can find me there, and this is the biggest chance I'll reply.
It's a tough thing for a lot of people, I think, who struggle with trying to get their work out there, because it all becomes about the likes. How many likes can I get? Rather than just letting the art be the art. Instagram is a great place for that. How do you feel like about moving forward with everything? And of course, we're getting into NFTs and stuff. We should probably switch gears soon. But when it comes to the future, do you think people are going to stay on platforms like that where there's nothing besides just here's a picture, everybody like it? you know, or is it going to move to where there's some sort of a platform, an NFT-ish platform that's like the all-encompassing, where there's a little more value? If somebody likes your work, it means it actually will lead to something rather than just like fake internet dollars.
Well, actually, I feel like I need to run away for a quick sec. But in terms of Instagram, I think it will stay just because it will be a personal preference. I'll be there. I mean, I just like the kind of form factor of Instagram. I like having my works there. Don't really care too much about how many subscribers. I have like something like 30K on Instagram, and it's not moving lower, or you got the drill.
Yeah.
It's constantly, slowly growing somewhere, and it's just there. It's just my I post family photos on there. I don't need Twitter. I did sell NFTs, but I didn't need Twitter for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I think there is nothing else to invent. Behance for a portfolio. I much more prefer Instagram, to be honest, with its carousel, whatever thing. I can put all the angles or renders or whatever. I don't know. And if people ask me for my work, and for instance, I struggle to put together a showreel right now since 2015. Funny. Last showreel I've put on was Out of Nothing's one, consisting of my own work, actually.
Yeah.
Do you need one though? I mean,
That's another question. That's my partner's kind of credo. He was saying like showreels are for people who don't have real work. But I really want one. And until I have one, Instagram is kind of a link that I'm sending to people asking what you're doing. It's an easy explanation of what I'm doing. There are some behind the scenes, there are some works, some breakdowns, some family life as well, you know.
And I feel like that helps too. Some people do both. Some people will have an account just for their family and one just for their work, which that's kind of how I do it. But at the same time, there is something to kind of mixing it together. I think Barton actually is the one who was talking to me about this in the first place. Was he has an account that's like already been chewed, and it also just has a mix of like his personal stuff on it, and it's something that reminds clients that you are a human being. You're not just a person, a factory pushing out content.
But then it comes down whether you're a solo guy or you're a brand, you're a company.
Right.
I can't put if I'll be, you know, positioning myself as a company, I can't put my kids in there because it wouldn't make sense.
Right.
But I can put some team events, going to pub, drinking beers, you know, Las Vegas nights or something. I can put it on there.
Yeah.
Last question in this section is your favorite life hack, and the example we always give of the life hack is Mitch Myers says you turn the toaster on its side for some bomb-ass grilled cheese. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the type of life hack that's like gimmicky or whatever. It could be like a time management thing, productivity, that kind of thing. Do you have any hacks for people?
Get up at 5 in the morning.
Ooh, what time do you go to bed?
Yeah.
10 with my kids.
Okay.
Earlier if I can.
So 6 hours of sleep, right?
Yeah.
No, 7
More.
hours of
7.
sleep.
7.
Yeah.
Math is hard. But I mean, you could time shift that, right?
Well, you're not necessarily have to be consistent in it. Like I'm not, because there are different projects. I don't know. You need to you can. That's it. That's my limit of talking. You may have circumstances where you need to, you know, stay for a night and deliver something urgently for the morning.
Right.
Obviously, you won't wake up at 5 then.
Right.
So it can shift. Yeah, but if you can do like 3, 4, 5 a.m.s in a week, oh my God, you will be surprised.
And is that because like nobody's bugging you at those hours?
Yeah.
Is that, no
Yeah.
emails? No.
no one's bugging you, and you feel like there's that mysterious energy, like similar to after the gym. You feel like, oh yeah, I'm a badass.
Yeah.
And at 5
Yeah.
a.m., when no one's awake, you're ahead of the world. You're. By the time actually people start to get into meetings at 12 p.m., you're already done. Your day is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End
Yeah.
with the meetings instead of worrying about getting them out of the way to get to the project you had to work on.
Yeah.
Might have to try that.
There's the book that inspired me to this called literally 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma.
Okay.
Okay.
A really good, highly recommended stuff.
I find that the best time for me to start trying to wake up early is during one of the time changes, because we just switched over. We set the clocks back, and rather than starting work at 9, I've been trying to start to work at 8, just because my body was already used to that. So I'm really trying to go a little bit earlier, even though I was very much not an early person before. It seems to help just a little bit, because by the time, like you said, noon rolls around, whether it's meetings, lunch, whatever it is, you actually feel like you got something done. Because I was at the point where, I would start working at 9, and within an hour, Matt's like, because he was getting up. What time are you getting up?
I get up
6,
around 7. 6:37, depends on when my kid wakes up.
So it's like, I felt like by the time I sat down and started working, Matt's like, all right, I'm going to lunch.
Yeah.
That's
man.
that's
Well,
the,
I also
the
eat lunch at
thing
like
with
10. Yeah.
the thing with me, I have to wake up before they do,
Yeah.
because then
Right.
it will start to be like, my wife won't be offended, but then it will start, can you help? Can you bring? Can you do something? No, I can't. I have work. So you have to do it before everyone wakes up and get out of the house.
Yeah.
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 Bobby was asking what time I go to bed. See, that's the thing is, I don't know what it is about my body clock, but sometimes it's hard for me to go to bed before 2, 3 in the morning, 4 every once in a while. So
All the
I'm always
coffee
only
and
getting
monsters you're drinking.
Yeah. Or the
I'm back
Dr.
on the
Pepper.
caffeine train
Yeah.
as of yesterday, and yesterday was the first time in like a month and a half that I've been able to stay up past 10:30.
Thomas said that this drink looks sponsored.
The past few days, like before I got back on caffeine, I was going to bed at 8:30. Basically, the second I got my kids down, I was so exhausted that I just would go to sleep.
We're getting old, boys.
Yeah.
So, we've been on for a bit here. We should probably go to the drop, because we have
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
can
stuff
I
to
leave you
talk
for
about.
a couple of minutes?
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go get something to drink, use the restroom, and we'll get it started.
Dave, did you get your mouse head?
Okay. Well, let's start the drop, and I'll talk about the mouse head. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Because I was looking at OpenSea.
Is this the fucking mic? This is exactly what I should be doing.
Hi.
What's up, and welcome to this week's episode of The Drop, your weekly source for all things NFT and crypto art, as well as upcoming drops by notable people in the Mograph industry. I'm Matt Milstead. Joining me, as always, is Dave Koss. Joining us this week is an empty chair that used to be Andrey Lebrov.
He'll be back in a second.
He'll be back.
If you
Yeah.
are just joining us on the drop only, this is part of our regular podcast, the Mograph podcast. Andre
Yes.
is using the restroom. We've been talking for hours, and we're going to talk about some NFT stuff now. And so we'll start going over this before he gets back. Number one, the Dead Mouse collection is out,
Wow.
and I do not know. I went through the motions. I did the thing. It said it was good, and now I don't know what to do.
It should be in your MetaMask. Look in your MetaMask.
Where would I see it in my MetaMask? Because
Click on
my-
your MetaMask and then go. No, never mind. Where is
because it said I was supposed to see it after that, and I did it, and I went through the motions. It still says I own Matic. I did.
Do you okay? Do you have it on your phone?
It says already claimed, so it sounds like it's claimed.
Okay,
I just don't know where
go-
to see it.
Go to OpenSea and connect
Okay.
your MetaMask wallet. It should be in there.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. Even knowing,
I know. I know.
Even knowing about NFTs, I think this is something that is going to work itself out. This is a great topic of conversation. Is that it is complicated. So,
Yes.
for example, Many of you probably know that Beeple was on Jimmy Fallon this week, right? And Jimmy
Yes.
Fallon said, I bought myself a Bored Ape. And
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, do you think that Fallon figured all of this out himself?
Yeah.
Or did somebody show
He
him how to
seemed
do it?
very confused about what it was called, so I'm going to he hesitated a bit when
Yeah.
he was saying he bought a Bored Ape,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm pretty sure he just called up his broker and was like, "Hey, buy me a Bored Ape."
Yep. So he went through the motions,
Mm-hmm.
and I think what has to be fixed in order for people to really be able to do something like this is there has to be some sort of streamlined process, some normalization, some standards that are set, everything so that your grandma can buy an NFT.
Yeah.
It is not to that point because, for example,
The amount of work that you had to go through just to be able to mint this thing.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's not that I don't understand it. It's that you have to be ready for it. It's like, oh, I have to buy this at 1 o'clock today. I have to move money around. I have to do this thing. I have to check the gas fees, and then I want to do it.
Gas
with
fees
some
are
Polygon.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that, right? So it's just such a hassle, and I don't know what to. Even right now, it's like, okay, now you go to check OpenSea. I'm trying to connect my wallet. It's not doing anything. And I'm trying to do a show, so I'm just gonna ignore it for now and hope that I got my.
I'm sure you got one.
It said already claimed, so I think it worked. I think it went through. I just don't know where to see it. And even with like Nick Smearballs, he's the one who put this whole thing together. He did a freaking fantastic job,
Dude,
Like,
I am. What's crazy? So I went on to OpenSea to see the ones that have already been purchased by people, you know, and so like just seeing it on OpenSea, it's gorgeous. It's the work
Yes.
is excellent, you know.
Yes.
But you click on one of the items, and what's interesting is they don't show you the image of the picture. They show you the GTLF or whatever, GTFL or whatever, the 3D one that you can spin around and look at. But then you've also got a still image that's super high resolution, you know, that looks really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he did these renders in Octane. I'm assuming we can talk about this. He popped in our Discord the other day, and he kind of gave us a rundown on what he did. And I'm like, look, you've got to come on the show and talk about this in detail because it is so cool. But what he's doing is he did the renders for these individual pieces in Octane. But also he used this special software that did these down conversions and polygons and still made them look good. You know, so that you would get this GTL, what I call it, the GTFO file,
Yeah, the GTFO.
the GTFO file, where you have access to the 3D version of that, and you can bring that into the metaverse, and you can use it as a game character or whatever that is, right? Like I don't really know what I'm going to do with it right now. I know I could probably use it later for something, but I love where this is going, and I love the way he put it together. He really thought it out and really went through to make sure that there weren't any issues like with mechas, right? Where things like look too similar or certain pieces or backgrounds don't go with each other correctly, you know, all of that. So he just did an absolutely great job, and he put a great article together on Medium about how to go through the process, and it stepped me through it, and it was great. But still, even with all of that, it's like this was so complicated.
It's such a pain. Yeah, it's such a pain.
Yeah.
You know, and I bought. That's why I was really excited when Render announced that they were moving to Solana, because Solana was easy. Solana buying stuff like I bought the Bone World stuff on Solana, and that was so simple because I went on to Coinbase. I bought some Solana. I transferred it to my Phantom wallet, you know, for next to nothing. And then I was able to purchase, you know. That's nice. That was very nice. But
Yeah,
Dave, I'm looking on your wallet right now. I don't see anything.
I don't see it. But
Yeah,
it says I
I don't know.
claimed it, so it's somewhere. I don't know. I'll
It's
figure it out
somewhere.
after the show.
Somewhere.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Why?
Yeah.
All right.
Check your wallet. See if you've got money. Did it take your money?
But that's what I was saying. I kept running it. It still says I have Matic.
Well, yeah, Matic, but do you have
But I thought that was supposed
wrapped
to.
ETH?
I mean, I did all of it, and I
All
did
right.
it, and it said that the transaction was completed,
Okay.
And then I was supposed to see it after that. And then I ran
All
it
right.
again. I don't know. Could have been an error. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, this process isn't ready. Where is all of this going to come when everything normalizes, when NFTs are
I don't
normal,
think the
you know?
process is that bad, to be honest. I feel like there's a question in the chat, like, do you have to have like a good work, or have to be popular to be able to sell? That's a good question in my opinion.
I think the people who are successful in NFTs are the ones who are very much a part of the community, of the NFT community.
Absolutely.
Who are what, like, and that was a big thing, you know, back in February, March, when people within our industry were like, "Oh, I can sell my artwork finally, awesome, and make some money off of it. Let's do it." It was the people who continued to stay in that group, in that community, instead of just looking for a quick buck, who ended up becoming really successful in that space. I think
You have to market yourself, and that's tough to do. We always talk about, gimmicks help. A lot of people have done these little gimmicks and physical pieces, and that helps. And it's like you're either going to do that and you're really going to push your own marketing, or you're already famous. Let's be honest. If you're already famous, it's easy.
Yeah.
Even famous have to put some presentation into it. I think it's all about
For sure.
presentation. It was, at some point, it was all about hype. I mean, it's controversial works that attracted like huge, humongous money, right? We all know what I'm talking about. But then there are stories and presentations about like people. He have an obvious story, right? He didn't have to necessarily put a presentation together, but there's a story, there's background. He is the presentation himself. And now I think hype is gone, right? And NFT is not only for individuals. We see teams collaborating, putting like that thing you mentioned, deadmau5. Put a collection of those deadmau5, 5,000 variations, avatars, whatever. They're not the only ones doing that. If you would Google, there will be a lot of collections of those avatars out there, and it's teams collaborating. Businesses are going into NFTs, and it's a really interesting future around it. So like with any work, like back in the days, you had to put a good, and still do have to put a good presentation around your work on Behance, for example, where you describe your project, your work that you've done, a case study, right? You have to explain it to audience. Same with the drops, same with NFTs. You have to explain why collectioner, whatever, have to buy your work. For example, I sold 2 NFTs, but I didn't market it. I didn't put a presentation. It was just out there. I don't know how it happened. It just did.
I think you have them on what is it on? Foundation, right?
Oh, Foundation, yeah. Simon, after our interview, he invited me on Foundation. I've put some works up. One went in about a month time. I didn't market it. Just some random dude just bought it.
Yeah.
And then the second one, as far as I know, it was again because of Simon. He told someone about me. So that's how it went. And so sometimes it works like that, but most of the time you have to put work into presentation. Really good.
Yeah.
And you've got some of them up right now. In fact, I'll just bring this up right here so you can see. So which one's this is the one that I love, this Halloween one you did.
Yes, so Pumpkin went, and then the sphere was from one of my first videos on YouTube. It's a loop.
That looks great, man.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, merci.
Did you do ZBrush for the pumpkin on that?
No, I bought it on TurboSquid and then rigged it for animation.
Nice.
And then the sphere as well.
Yeah.
Is this was related? Was this related to one of your tutorials with the road? Okay.
Yeah. Texture
cool.
tutorial.
Yeah, that's a big one. All right, let me go back in my notes here, because there's a couple other random things that happened this week as well.
Yeah, the biggest news is Hicken Yuck that I like to it's just gone.
It's gone.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It like became one of the most popular, Tezos marketplaces, and like everyone was using it, and then all of a sudden just gone. It's just gone. It's
now
like
there's a copycat site or a clone site of it, right?
Yeah,
It's
but
out
like,
somewhere.
what about all the people who like posted stuff on there? I mean, I don't know. I'm confused about it, but man, it's crazy. It's crazy that it's just gone. Like, I've
Yeah.
never heard of that happening before. I've heard of like rug pulls and stuff like that with people doing collections, but like for a whole site just to be gone, a whole marketplace. I don't
That's
know.
the problem that you run up against. These sites come up and you're like, okay, well, how much should I put into this? How much effort should I
Right.
put into this site if everybody could just disappear at any given time?
Right. Like Tokyo Megaplex was doing, like, he started doing this whole collection of things that he was, putting up there and selling them and stuff. And it's like,
Somebody
it's
made a
just
joke
gone.
that Tokyo Meg should actually just take over. They should just give the site to him and let him
they
take it over.
should. Yeah.
I forget who that was that said that, but
That's funny.
yeah, so I don't know. I haven't heard much info on that. It just kind of came up, and nobody seemed to have any info as why.
Yeah.
So maybe something has happened since I read that in the last couple days, but that's all I know about it. So
Yeah.
if anybody has any more info, let us know. The other thing is Render token.
Gosh, Render. Man, Render is on fire. It's so funny. So like after selling my Beeple piece and like keeping track of stuff is like, okay, my taxes are going to be a lot. So I put some money aside for my taxes, and I just put it in like a small investment account to let it, gain a little bit of interest to help me cover my taxes. And I was like, about a month ago, I was like, Render's pretty stable right now. I wonder if I could throw all that into Render and just, see if it goes anywhere. Because it was about like 89 cents. It was hovering between 89 cents and $1 and stuff like that. And I was like, I wonder if it'll go anywhere. Had I done that, I would have quadrupled my money over the past like week and a half, which would have been
Hindsight.
awesome. Hindsight,
Is that
yeah.
on Render?
That is
Yeah.
Render, yeah. So the Render tokens right now, like it was 89 cents. It's up to $4.77, which is crazy. I think this big announcement moving over to Solana and stuff has really helped, as well as I think they got on another marketplace. I'm hoping that this like really grabs some attention from like Coinbase and stuff like that, and they can get onto Coinbase. That'll make things a lot easier within the Render world, being able to buy and sell on Coinbase. But right now, with the price that it is, so you can buy 4 Render tokens.
Yeah, explain
for
this.
one. Okay, so it's funny. So if you're set up as a Render node, which I am, and I've got 3 different computers that can render on the Render network all at the same time, right? So if you're set up as a Render node, like right now, I can go onto the Render site, submit a job, and say it costs me €1. So I spend, €1 to get 4 Render tokens, which is technically the equivalent right now of like almost $20, right? So if that job gets sent to me and I get paid back 1 Render token, then I basically make money off of it. So it's interesting. I'm sure they're going to adjust the scale, eventually to adjust for Render token payouts and stuff like that.
Right.
They're probably going to lower the Render token payouts, but it'll be right now it's pretty awesome. Now, as far as investing, this is not financial advice or whatever, because it's at an all-time high. $4. It hit $5 earlier today, like just a little bit ago, which is absolutely insane to me. Just gotta have it hit $730, and then I'm a millionaire.
There you go.
Who knows? It may.
One
I
of
believe
the
very strongly in Render.
there's talk in the chat too about setting up a node, and man, there's just
So-
been so much chatter. Apparently,
As of right now,
It's
there
tough.
are, there's. I mean, I got lucky because I know a bunch of the devs and stuff like that. I was like, hey, hook me up, and so they hooked me up, right? But it's like right now there's an abundance of nodes, so really like there's more nodes than actual render jobs right now. But what I can see in the future happening is render's a really solid platform that I think won't just be used for rendering frames anymore. That's what I would like to see.
Overall, render is a fantastic idea, and there's a bigger vision of the CEO of Otoy, Jules.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great future, and I believe, even though I basically stopped using Octane, still it's a great future for the whole company, and that render in particular, the process of getting jobs to the network is getting more streamlined, thanks to people like Dino, who programmed that thing to export Orbexes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you said, I'm actually surprised it didn't take off and there are not as many jobs on the network, But then it also comes to the limitations of Cinema 4D again. Because I read some stuff that developers of the plugins for Cinema 4D are saying, and there are some things that can't be baked because of the Cinema, not Octane, to Orbex. I made a tutorial, a big one, about baking particles to Alembics and then exporting to render network. It's all a big additional hassle, but once that's sorted, I think it's a fantastic tool. You literally need, that work I did with the paper castle and wrapping.
Mm-hmm.
That was all made.
Oh
my God, Dave!
I see that one.
It basically was fully developed on a Razer laptop. Right, and then rendered the final ones on Render Farm, the local one that we had in the company. But with the working concept like Render Network, you could only have a laptop and be a fully functioning badass artist on the go.
Mm-hmm.
You just develop the project on your really capable laptop, then send it to Render, and that's it. You're done. Your super big budget production is done.
Yeah.
Is this the one?
I think right now, with the right now you're just able to render Octane jobs and stuff like that. But it's in their pipeline or in their plan to eventually bring on Arnold renderer, and I'm sure Redshift is just behind that. And anything that that's a Hydra delegate, will be able to be rendered on Render, which is insane to me. It's like, that's the future, decentralization of the, rendering and paying people to do it. That is the future of this.
Just be
and
another
that's
kernel, right? Just be another drop down. Yeah.
Yep. And you can mix and match. And like Bobby was saying in the chat, Render integrating C++ and OSL shaders into Solana NFTs. That's going to be huge. That's going to be a huge thing.
Gamification of NFTs. Oh man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The gamification of NFTs, like that is going to be, that's like POC level stuff, for us newbies who don't, get into that stuff. But being able to write OSL shaders in C++ directly into like, say, C4D or into your Orbex file, and then be able to render all those on the Render network and they adjust with it. That's going to be killer. I can't wait. Yeah. So
that's so exciting and depressive at the same time. To be honest. I feel a bit left out. I used to know everything about Octane, and now I'm just starting to feel like missing out on things.
Yeah.
I think it was Vernon we were talking to in the Discord who had the other day who had gone away from Octane, went to Redshift for a while, and now I'm back in Octane. He's like, wow, there's so much more here now.
There is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so much more developed, and the auto is actually listening to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
To people, they're integrating all of it. Like Aces, Aces is not working properly. Here you go, fix.
Yeah.
Features, like crazy.
I think after version 3, there was like a lot of anger after version 3, because I feel like we expected a whole lot more, and we had Jules on the show a little bit after that, and we kind of, I feel bad, but we kind of, got onto him about some of this stuff. And since then, he's been extremely active, in our
community.
in our community, in the whole
motion graphics
community.
community.
You know,
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and I'm super happy that he is so active. You know, being able to see that from a CEO and stuff like that is very, very cool.
And I'm excited to talk to him about NFTs in a couple weeks when he's on the show.
Yeah.
Because, man, that conversation, the metaverse, all of that, gosh, that's going to be a fun convo.
Yeah, it will be.
I have the question that I saved from the very beginning of the show. Question for you, Andrey, is how much change do you think the metaverse will have on traditional 2D and 3D digital media? Will there be a huge shift from showcasing our work on monitors to VR headsets or what have you?
Wow. I don't know. It's hard to say. There are so many of those metaverses, and it's really confusing topic since VR headsets became a thing. It's
And
really
what do you
confusing.
think of the metaverse, though? Like in general, I guess would be, a good way.
Well, something like Ready Player One would be amazing, obviously, but I'm not seeing it working unless something like light fields would become a thing.
Yeah.
For something like light fields to become a thing, we need something like render network to bloody function on its full potential, and it's basically the base of Jules' vision for the future.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, ever since VR headsets became a thing, it's not for me. I don't want to wear anything on my head. I feel discomfort even now with the headphones on my head.
Mm-hmm.
But with the VR headset, it goes even further. I feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the first ones to buy those expensive, not HTC. Who was the first
Vive?
ones? Vive, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought the first one, was super excited, but the only thing I didn't feel sick of was the Google Earth thing. Mm-hmm. Where you could actually control, see where you're going, and it's not, moving. So your, don't know the English words, but your subconscious, whatever, knows and predicts the environment. But if it's a space shooter, and there's that
the thing is moving around, your inner ear gets
between what you're seeing and what you're feeling, I feel like, no, please don't stop it.
Yeah, that whatever that is in your inner ear that connects to your brain, that
exactly, I feel physically sick. So there is no metaverse for me unless this little thing is sorted, and stuff like light fields and those panels, holographic, basically panels.
The holographic panels are going to be insane. I can't wait for that.
You can turn your room into the streaming
holodeck.
Sort of holodeck, basically. And if it will become, if everyone would be able to afford it, if it would become consumer-friendly installation and all the logistics behind it, then we can talk about metaverse, and then we can talk about changing the traditional ways of showcasing our works. But in terms of artists, everyone's already ready for it. I mean, all that NFT stuff, it's going there. I mean, Nike and companies like that starting to design virtual shoes. Why is that for? We know what you're up to, Nike.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
That's funny.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Facebook really is going to be the pioneer that they think they're going to be in that
I
field,
sure hope they're not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I saw an interesting article the other day talking about why Facebook is going to fail at the metaverse. It's because they are so, they want you to sign up. There's no free when it comes to Facebook. You have to sign up and be a part and be tracked by them at all times if you're going to use their metaverse, or their products.
Who was I talking to? Was it Dryzen? Who was I talking to the other day?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I remember. I don't remember.
Thomas? We were talking in the Discord about if you get a Facebook violation. Let's say you get in Facebook jail. For a couple days, you can't do anything with your Oculus Rift account.
Yeah, just so stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Who wants to do that? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't access all your games you paid for anymore. Sorry. Like, is that where we're going with that? Like, I just don't feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like the metaverse is going to be
I feel
Facebook.
like once Zuckerberg's out of there, I feel like Facebook could be a better place. You know, if they'd stop it with the algorithmic, you know, timeline, and Zuckerberg was gone. I don't know. Anyway, he's a robot.
Did you see that clip? Where he said, I used to be a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a human.
I mean, I am a human.
I am a human.
There's a lot of negativity around Facebook. I'm not that deep into news, but I hear bad things all the time.
Oh man, it's so bad in the U.S. too. Like, because, you know, the algorithms determine what will drive your
engagement. And
you
that's
know,
anger.
And that's anger. Yeah. So you just get,
well,
you know, and then you
honest,
get a bunch of you know, troll farms on Facebook who are just trying to push more disinformation in order to either
anger you so that you engage more.
Yeah.
Right?
In Western countries and cultures these days, you have to be careful about what you're saying. Like, overall, just be careful with how you formulate your thought.
Yeah.
I think, I know what you mean with Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Let's switch gears real quick.
Yeah, let's
Matt,
go over to the main
week's
drops. Let's go to this week's drops.
Yeah, let's do that.
We've got a few for Nifty Gateway. They didn't have the whole week. They stopped at the 18th. Like I said, I don't like the way they're doing drop schedules now. I wish I had all of them, but maybe eventually we'll do 2 episodes of the drop per week.
Oh,
you know.
Okay. Sure we will.
Once we're doing Mograph full time, sure. Let's do that. So we'll start off with Nifty Gateway. The first one, Andrea Bonacito will be doing a drop. This one's tonight, which is cool. I like their work. Very vivid, super pretty, very colorful. You know, really cool looking stuff. I really like that. So I think there's a collector's drawing, then another open edition, and then a ranked auction. Oh, 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's cool. I like those ranked
starts
auctions.
30 minutes early, so it's 5:30 Central.
Yeah. Cool. So that's that one, and then Glenn Wexler is doing one called Impossible Realities, which I think is really cool. I really like that Ring of Fire one.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. So there's a few some neat work from there. Next up on the 16th tomorrow, artist by the name of Vex. Oh yeah, super neat stuff, very illustrative and stuff. Really cool looking stuff. I like it. So
is that a it's not a Houdini reference, is it?
What?
Vex. That's 2 X's, so I guess not.
I have no idea. No. Next up on the 17th, Trevor Jones is doing a collaboration with Ice Cube, which I think is really interesting. Trevor Jones, I'm mad at myself because I bought a Trevor Jones at one point, and I freaked out and panicked, and then tried to sell it, and like ended up making like $1 off of it. And if I would have held on to it for a couple months, it would have gone up to $4,000. You know. So.
Hindsight, right?
Well, Trevor Jones had some interesting things with man, that tracking on that is terrible. I mean, we know how the sauce is made. Jeez, yeah. Like, come on, just get some mocha up there. Just motion track it. Anyway, I mean, I got a tutorial about that from like years ago. Come on.
Hand-tracked, artisan hand-tracked.
Yeah. Anyway, Trevor Jones and Ice Cube, that one is on the 17th. On the 18th, Fabrizio Plessi is doing a drop. Oh, this one was cool.
Is this a projection map?
It's called, I don't know. It's called The Golden Age. It's a series of 5 digital artworks leveraging NFTs. So I'm not sure 100% what it's about, but I did see the projection mapping, and that was really cool. Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting stuff. Next one is Lefty Out There is doing a drop on the 18th as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this was just the website. Neat looking stuff. Reminds me of the what's that artist from the 90s? Anyway, neat looking stuff. I don't know what the drop is going to be, what it's going to look like. So interested to see. So cool work though. Next up, we've got Maker's Place tomorrow on the 16th. Bert Musketon, I believe. Cool, like little pop culture type things, references to pop culture and stuff.
Oh, that's the alien from
from
that one movie.
Yeah,
Men in
that
Black.
one movie. So love the TikTok stuff. That's funny.
Oh, nice.
Better Call Saul.
It's me right there,
neat
taking my
stuff.
TikTok pills.
Right. Neat stuff from pop culture. Next one on the 17th, Frank Frazetta is doing a drop called Heroines of Frazetta. This one, Frank is there's some nudity there. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I should have said something.
Whoops.
But Frank is like a very well-known fantasy artist, been around for a while, who's done a lot of these fantasy art type things. So super cool. On the 18th, Javu Erez and Marca, I believe, are doing a thing together called We Are the Champions, celebrating different like sports things and stuff like that. I really like it. I love the illustrative look of everything. So super cool looking
Cool.
stuff.
I like the little arcade thingies. That's cool.
Yeah. Really neat. Very detailed. I like that. So that's all I've got for the drops for this week. For community drops, Billy Gurnge is going to be doing another drop sometime this week. He wouldn't give me any information at all. No information.
But his super rare drop was great. We were all on the Discord cheering him on.
Yeah, it was super cool. So last week he did his super rare drop, and it ended up getting to 11 ETH, which was super cool. So congrats to Billy on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. And then I don't know if we mentioned it, but Ryan Talbot also sold another one of his pieces along with his series of stuff. I believe it was $55,000 or something. I don't know how much that was in ETH, but that's pretty cool. And then huge shout out to Beeple. Congrats, Beeple, for not only Jimmy Fallon, but also selling Human One. It was $29 million, I believe, for Human One after fees and all that stuff. So that was really cool. I was watching that live while I was away checking out a camp for Camp Mograph. It's cool. Dave, I put a link in the chat. I don't know if you want to look at it, but that's the OpenSea link for some of the Smearballs Dead Mouse collabs. If you want to take a look at it, you can scroll down all the way to the bottom and see some of the ones that people have already bought.
See how it looks.
Yeah, because Smearballs did a great job. Like it's typical Smearballs, fashion. They look really, really good, and I love that you can see both the.
Every single one of these says content not available yet.
Right. Keep scrolling down all the way to the bottom.
Oh, it's like it's still making them. Is
yeah,
that the
those.
deal?
So they kept 300 out of that drop
Nice.
that
Here
they
we
could
go.
do giveaways and stuff like that. But yeah, if you look down at the bottom, I mean, look at that.
Wow.
Super colorful,
So
really
cool.
cool,
So cool.
great looking stuff. Yeah,
See, yeah,
and if
we're
you
gonna have
click
to talk to him about the process.
So
It's gonna be
click
fun.
on one of them, and you'll see. So right there. So this is like the actual like 3D GLTF,
We can move it
thing.
around.
Now, go down a little bit, and you can see the full image. Oh my gosh, the full image. No, go up. There's a little link right below the description that says full image. Then you click on that and see. Then you get the full image NFT if this actually shows up.
Yeah, that might take it a second.
And
don't know.
OpenSea's been really slow today.
It has been.
I don't know.
I noticed
It's
that.
stupid.
Yeah.
How do they bloody generate that many things?
I don't know the exact way that he does it, but I mean, they've all got individual ears, they've got individual faces, they got individual mouths and individual eyes. And so you create multiple different versions of all these things. And then through some Python
I can
code,
understand how would you go around the still or pre-rendered sequence, but that was a 3D thing.
Yeah.
He's got a program he's using and all
Yeah,
this.
I don't know.
He said he'd come on the show like next year after January and talk about the process, because I was like bombarding him with questions about like how this is done, and
it's
like,
really cool.
There's
very,
a program
very
to
cool
do the
stuff.
3D. There's a program to make sure that it's not making anything that's too similar. There's all this Python code that somebody helped him with, and it seems like it went well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
oh boy,
Cool
look who's
stuff.
here.
Oh boy, look who it is.
Hey, Matt.
What's
I
up,
heard Hen is
Dorpy?
gone, but I'll give you some words of advice on that.
Mhm.
There's an old saying that goes, don't put your dog in a baseball game because he'll get walked.
I don't get it.
Just think about it for a minute.
Right.
It'll make sense later. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm sure everybody's going to move over to my new platform anyway when it launches. It's going to be called Pavlog. Does that
Oh,
name ring a
gosh.
bell?
Oh, it's making me salivate.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to go. Got some friends and we're getting together online. We're going to play some PUBG.
Oh gosh.
Okay, bye.
Terrible. That was bad.
Well, at least the pig wasn't here this week, right?
At least the pig. Maybe. I
those-
don't know. Is the pig coming?
Those pig jokes. Yeah, maybe
Right.
next time. We'll see.
Hmm.
Did we cover? Man, that was a lot for the drop today. That was
That was
a long
that
show.
Was.
So
Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to the regular show. For anyone who has any drops, if you want to shill it on the show, feel free to reach out to us, info@mograph.com, and we'll give it a looky-loo. You know,
all right.
30 people left the chat. That's
All right.
hilarious.
Let's go back to the regular show. Here we go.
Go back to the regular show.
Is this the fucking mic drop? This is exactly what I should be doing.
Thank you so much for being on
yes,
the show
Andre,
today.
thank you so much. Yeah,
Long,
great
Thanks for
stuff.
having me, guys.
It was really good to meet you. You know, over Skype and stuff, and talk
Yeah,
shop.
same.
Yeah.
Because Clint was, so many amazing guys. At least
Yeah.
now I know some of those guys.
We're gonna have
Appreciate
to
it.
hang out in real life and grab a beer or something like that at some point. Or maybe we'll come over there. You know,
Yeah.
if the country will let us out. You know, get over
Yeah,
there.
right.
You know, do some sort of European meetup or something.
We got to.
Yeah.
The Mograph Euro meetup. Let's do it.
The Iceland meetup, right?
Well, we're gonna do an
Iceland, yeah.
Iceland. We'll do Iceland. You know, and that'll be more of like a rest and relaxation, or maybe we'll do that on the way home after we do the massive tour, right? But we'll start off in the UK, maybe head down to Paris, Barcelona. I don't know, everywhere.
I would really much want to visit US, to be fair.
All right. Then we'll bring you in for like camp or something like that.
Yeah.
How about that?
That Burbank, is that area of
Yeah.
LA or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have a
just
few
south of
companies
LA.
I want to visit there.
There you go.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you can make it next
come out.
month, come on out.
Yeah.
Nah, not next month.
A little while.
Next year maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, we got plenty more meetups that'll happen. So.
Yeah,
um,
totally.
But yeah, if people want to find you online, where can they find you? What's the best place to go?
Well, YouTube would be the most colorful place to find out what I'm doing. It's Andrey Lebrov. That's it.
Easy
Cool.
enough.
Instagram the same. Andrey Lebrov.
Cool.
And well, sometimes at this point we asked about upcoming projects, but we already know
Yeah.
it's a big secret. It'll be a couple years, so you know.
Well, some studies, from personal ones, some studies will come in the beginning of the year, I think. I want
Oh,
to
sweet.
sculpt
Cool.
some stuff, something related with characters, you know. Really want to switch to that. I
Yeah.
really always wanted to do something concept, something where I would be able to direct mood, but concept is not final pixel. I want that Hollywood level
Right.
imagery.
Right.
And I already know how to create landscapes, already know how to do hard surface, all that kind of stuff. Now the last gap is characters from
Yeah.
A to Z, from
Yeah.
sculpting to rigging. And yeah, that will be fun.
Because it can be hard to tell a story without characters. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and maybe you can get on our Slack. We'll send you an invite and hang out, check out our
Yeah.
Slack or a Discord.
That
and
would be amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
hop on video with us in the Discord, say hi sometime.
Yeah.
We're all nerding out on there all the time, so.
I appreciate you staying up so late, by the way, as well.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
thank you again.
Oh yeah, I won't be able to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Cool.
That
well,
was fun.
we're going to get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review. subscribe to us on your podcatcher of choice. It helps get our ratings up. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Bab, Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. You can also get the Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, and the That Render is Fire shirt, which you are only allowed to wear, ironically, unless you're Shams. And then, of course, the Mograph Blandishment shirt, all that at mograph.com. And again, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, mograph.com. Come say hi. Come get an invite to the Discord. Come get an invite to the Slack. And we'll see you there.
Yep.
So until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrei. Peace.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.